Chapter 2010. The monster's demonic skills were good. It made them feel like they were surrounded by beasts of primordial chaos. The sense of danger was clear. If someone could not control himself and made a move, the sense of danger would be even stronger. Once someone was attacked, the others would fight back. By then, all of them would fight back, and it would become a situation of mutual destruction. In the end, everyone would die. Clearly, this was not the first time young Master Qin and the others had been here. They were well aware of the situation. Nobody moved. Young Master Qin, Lady Qiong, Lady Mu, and young Master Zhu all released their treasures and used skills to protect their souls. The illusion in front of them disappeared. The four of them rushed to 4 different directions to kill the monsters. The monsters' demonic skills were strong, but their physical bodies were weak. Once the monsters got close to them, they could be killed easily. Young Master Qin was brave. He shortened the distance between 2 monsters and swung his weapon. 2 monsters were killed. The other 3 started to attack as well. Soon, more and more monsters died. Whoosh! 6 monsters dashed toward Lu Li like ghosts. Lu Li and the others didn't have any treasures. They were all trying to resist the soul attacks to avoid falling into the illusion and losing their minds. Therefore, most of them didn't know the monsters were coming. Only Lu Li and 3 or 4 others did. Young Master Qin swept a glance over and bellowed furiously. "Be careful, there are 6 demons approaching. Charge!" The monsters around them attacked young Master Qin and the others in a frenzy. They knew very well that they were no match for young Master Qin and the others. They wanted to kill the outsiders even at the cost of their lives. A warrior of the Alliance of Immortals made a move. His eyes were closed, but a flying sword flew out from his hand and pierced through a monster that was close to him. The other 2 warriors that sensed the monsters took actions as well. They didn't move around, but they smashed away 2 monsters that were close to them. **T. Lu Li noticed a monster was coming at him. It was a dark and skinny man that looked like a human. If it weren't for the dense, demonic energy around him, Lu Li wouldn't be able to tell that he was a monster. He had a bunch of hooks in his hands. He rushed toward Lu Li like a ghost and aimed at Lu Li's neck. When young Lady Mu saw this scene, she immediately shouted, "Qin, Long, watch out. Monsters are attacking you." Xiao. Lu Li had no other choice but to reach out a hand and slap at the approaching beast. He did not use his full strength, but the beast was still smashed away. After that, Lu Li kept waving his hands. He smashed everything in his surroundings and even took out his sword to hack about. His face was filled with panic. Miss Mu hurriedly said, "All right, don't move. You've sent the demons flying. If you move again, you'll hurt your own people." Lu Li put away his sword at once and stopped. Young Master Qin looked at Lu Li meaningfully. Lu Li had smacked the demon away with one move. It was obvious that he could sense the presence of the demon clan, but he was just hiding his strength. Lu Li was indeed unpredictable. He had such a strong soul at the first tribulation realm and was not affected by the sorcery. Young Master Qin and the other 3 quickly attacked and easily killed all the demons. The illusion in everyone's mind disappeared. Other than one person who was slightly injured, the others were all safe and sound. "Let's go." Qin Zhan led the team forward without any rest. There were too many wild humans and monsters in the Yuanyu world. They could not kill them all. They were only here to collect herbs and treasures for training, not to massacre. They moved forward quickly and ran into wild humans and monsters constantly. Lu Li hardly took any actions. He would only kill them with the worms of the void when they were attacking him. Young Master Qin and the others were so powerful that regular wild humans and monsters posed no threat to them. They killed their way forward. They found more than a dozen ripe herbs along the way. All of them were picked, but they were divided among the 4 young masters and young ladies. Lu Li didn't get any. After a day and a half, they arrived at the Valley of Hidden Dragons. Outside the valley, Qin Zhan stopped and said, "There are powerful wild humans guarding in the valley. Later, the 4 of us will take 12 people with us to fight. Each family will send 1 person to collect herbs. Qinlong, you go. I will give you a map." Young Master Qin handed over a map and said at the same time, "There are divine patterns around the herbs. You must be careful. If you cannot pick them, leave immediately. We can only attract their attention for an hour. After that, we must leave, or the powerful wild humans nearby will come." Okay. Luli nodded without saying anything else since young Master Qin trusted him so much. The other families sent one person each. Young Master Qin told one person and then sent someone into the valley to investigate. "Let's go." When the report came back, young Master Qin took out his huge pagoda and rushed in first. Lady Qiong took out her gourd while Lady Mu and young Master Zhu took out their treasures. How? There was a wild human tribe in the valley with more than 1,000 wild humans. More than a dozen people dashed in, which attracted more wild humans. Soon, a fight broke out. "Let's go." A warrior of the Mu family had collected herbs before. He led Lu Li and the other two into the valley from the back. There were wild humans in the valley. The powerful warrior of the Mu family waved his hand. They dashed over and killed several wild humans in an instant. The four of them sneaked in and arrived at a lake at the back of the valley. All the herbs were in the lake. Luli could see the glow from the distance. There were many herbs in the lake. Wild humans were not intelligent. There should be some wild humans guarding here, but they were distracted by young Master Qin and the others. There were only 4 or 5 wild humans patrolling by the lake. The powerful warrior of the Mu family winked at Lu Li. The 4 of them dashed over and killed the wild humans. Lu Li had no other choice. He secretly released the worms of the void to kill a wild human. Then, he looked into the lake. The powerful warrior of the Mu family said, "Be careful. There are many divine patterns at the bottom of the lake. Go and collect the herbs. You can keep the herbs." The 4 of them dashed into the lake. Lu Li snuck toward a small white flower at the bottom of the lake. When he was close to the white flower, he found some divine patterns. He did not dare to use his artifact for fear that his identity would be exposed. He had blood fairies sneak out from under his feet to decipher the divine patterns. The divine patterns are not complicated. "Master, give me the time for half an incense stick to burn." As Blood Fairy said that, Lu Li pretended to squat on the ground and began to decipher the divine patterns. His hands glowed, buzzing. After the time for half an incense stick to burn, the divine patterns began to glow. Lu Li picked up the white flower and threw it into a jade box. Then, he dashed toward another herb. That fast. The other 3 were surprised and jealous. They were all skilled in divine patterns, or else they would not have been sent here to pick herbs. They were all studying the divine patterns in front of them, but Lu Li had already picked one. Whoosh! Lu Li approached a small tree at the bottom of the lake. There were 4 golden fruits on the tree and powerful divine patterns as well. Lu Li did the same. Before the other 3 could get their hands on their first divine herb, Lu Li had already picked 4 more divine fruits. The Qin family is freakish. I have suffered a great loss this time. Chapter 2011. In total, there were more than 30 herbs at the bottom of the lake. Similar to the ones Lu Li collected at the Palace of Immortals, they were all top-level ones. Every one of them was priceless. The Dragon Valley had always been the focus of Qin family, Mu family, Zhu family, and Alliance of Immortals. It was a pity that the barbarian tribe was stationed here, and there were 2 other tribes nearby. Every time they came, they could only stay here for an hour and collect more than a dozen herbs. This year was different. Because of Lu Li's participation, the gathering speed was much faster. It seemed that the more than 30 herbs at the bottom of the lake would all be collected. Lu Li was so fast. Of course, this was not Lu Li's doing. It was Blood Fairy's improvement in divine glyphs. Blood Fairy had evolved after consuming the divine liquid. She had divided into 4 avatars. 4 avatars could study at the same time and verify with each other. Her progress in divine glyphs was rapid. What was more, the divine glyphs that Blood Fairy was studying were of a high level. In the Palace of Demons and Devils, in the Pit of Haze, and in the treasures Lu Li obtained, the divine glyphs were all of a high level. The divine glyphs here were not of a high level, especially those that protected the herbs. Of course, That was only for Blood Fairy. Therefore, it was easy for her to decipher the divine glyphs. Blood Fairy was getting faster and faster, and so was Luli. The eyes of the other three were about to spit fire. They felt that their attainments in the field of divine patterns were not bad. However, they didn't expect that Luli had already obtained 13 divine patterns while they had only collected 2. They had agreed that the divine glyphs belonged to whoever collected them. If they could have a share, they would have been happy for Luli. But now, they were filled with jealousy. Those herbs were priceless. Soon, an hour passed. All the more than 30 miraculous herbs were collected. Each of the 3 warriors had 4, and Luli had 22. Let's go. When the last herb was collected, Luli dashed toward the back of the mountain. The other 3 looked at each other. They all had the urge to kill Luli. If they could kill Luli, the 3 of them could share the more than 20 herbs. But in the end, they did not. For one thing, the Qin family was powerful. For another, they could not sense Luli's realm. If Luli was a powerful warrior and they could not kill him, then they would be in big trouble. The 4 of them quickly left the valley and rushed towards the agreed location in the west. After running for tens of thousands of miles, they arrived at that mountain. By the time they rushed over, young Master Qin and the others had arrived very quickly. The 4 young masters and young mistresses were not injured, but the remaining 7 or 8 were injured. Each of them even lost an arm. Let's leave this area first. Qin Zhan and Luli looked at each other. They waved their hands, and the group rushed forward. After an hour, they finally stopped at the foot of a small mountain. How was the harvest? Miss Mu inquired. The expert from the Mu clan took out 4 jade boxes and replied, Miss, we've gathered 4 stalks of divine medicine. The other 2 families also took out their jade boxes and handed them over. Miss Mu nodded slightly and said, Not bad, not bad. Powerful warriors of the Mu family and the others forced a smile and looked at Luli. Young Master Qin was amused. He asked, Qin Long, how is it? Not bad. Luli took out 22 jade boxes and said, All of them are here. Hand them in. 22? Lady Mu and young Master Zhu were stunned. Even Lady Qiong looked at Luli in surprise. What a disparity. Not bad. Young Master Qin was overjoyed. It was the right decision to bring Luli here. He didn't expect to gain so much. Lady Mu became resentful. She looked at young Master Qin with grievance and said, Brother Qin Zhan, this is not right. We all work together, and yet you have gained so much. This is not fair. A warrior of the Qin family was unhappy. He said, Gathering the divine medicine depends on one's ability. This has always been the rule. The warriors of the Mu family wanted to say something, but they didn't know how to refute. They just stared at the warrior of the 3rd tribulation of the Qin family. Lady Qiong said, Okay, why do we have to hurt our relationship over some material things? Let's go. We just need to go to more places. Ha ha ha. Young Master Qin laughed and said, Sister Mu, don't be mad. Come on. I don't have anyone to share with you. Everyone was moved. Each stock of divine medicine was worth tens of millions of divine origin gold. Young Master Qin had given away hundreds of millions of divine origin gold. His generosity stunned everyone. Brother Qin, you are the best. Lady Mu's eyes turned into crescent moons. She took over the divine medicine young Master Qin handed over and said with a charming smile, If it were not for the fact that Brother Qin's heart belongs to someone else, I would have snatched it away. Lady Qiong blushed. She glared at Lady Mu angrily. Young Master Qin laughed, but didn't say anything. After the divine medicine was distributed, he turned to Luli and said, I will give you 5 this time. 5? Luli once again admired young Master Qin's generosity. Even though he was the one who gathered the divine medicine, he didn't know Qin Zhan and brought him here. If it weren't for Qin Zhan and the others distracting the army in front of the valley, Luli wouldn't have been able to gather even 1 divine medicine. Also, Qin Zhan said he would give all the divine marrow to him. Qin Zhan was really generous. Brother Qin, where are we going next? Lady Mu asked. They could only stay here for 1 month. The Yuanyi world was a big place. They couldn't gather all the divine medicine in all the treasured lands. They had to pick a few places. Qin Zhan said without hesitation, "Let's go to the Mount Yulong." Mount Yulong? I don't think this is appropriate. Young Master Zhu also opened his mouth and said, "Qin Zhan, Mount Yulong is not said to be very dangerous. The most precious divine medicine inside is only the divine marrow. The divine marrow is a treasure for refining the body. What use do we have for it?" The supreme divine body was too difficult to cultivate. Every family had some divine medicine for body refinement, which was enough for their disciples to cultivate. Therefore, treasures like the divine marrow were of little value. Time was precious. If they were to waste it on the divine marrow, they might not get it. Young Master Zhu and Lady Mu naturally didn't agree. Lady Qiu nodded and said, "I think we might as well go to the underworld abyss. There are underworld blossoms there. There is more than divine marrow at the Mount Yulong." Young Master Qin smiled mysteriously and said, "There is another divine medicine at the Mount Yulong. You should have heard of it. It is called black tortoise fruit." What? Everyone was stunned. Lady Mu shouted in surprise, "There is black tortoise fruit at the second heaven?" A powerful warrior of the Zhu family murmured, "One fruit can increase one's lifespan by 30,000 years. This is a divine medicine. Powerful warriors would have a long lifespan. It was easy for an average warrior to live for 100,000 years. It was easy for a powerful warrior to live for 230,000 years. That being said, many warriors fought and killed all year round. It was not uncommon for them to hurt their life source. Lu Li, for example, had hurt his life source several times. Once his life source was hurt, his lifespan would be reduced. Lu Li was too young to feel it. When he lived for tens of thousands of years, he would feel the problem. Therefore, many powerful warriors needed to find divine medicines to prolong their lives. Take Yin Fengming, for example. He only had 1 or 2 years left in his life. When Lu Li said he would give him a fruit to prolong his life, Yin Fengming was very interested. Every family had some old farts. These old farts were the foundation of the family, the stabilizing force of the family. If these old farts could live for a few more years, the family would be as stable as a mountain. Chapter 2012. There were many divine medicines at the second heaven, but there were very few divine medicines that could increase one's lifespan. Most of them could only increase one's lifespan by a few years or even a few decades. Those that could increase one's lifespan by a few hundred years were hard to come by. Legend had it that the black tortoise fruit was a very precious divine medicine even in the third heaven. It was thought that it didn't exist in the second heaven, but unexpectedly, it existed in Yuan Ye's world. If there were a few inside, it would be a great merit for them to bring back to their families. "Let's go to Mount Yulong," young Master Zhu said decisively. One of his clan's ancestors was about to die. If he could bring back a black tortoise fruit, his position as the clan's godson would be secured. Miss Qiong and Miss Mu looked at each other and nodded slightly. No matter how many of the other godly medicines he brought back, the clan wouldn't care too much about it. However, if he could bring back a black tortoise fruit, the significance would be completely different. Lu Li looked at young Master Qin, wondering if he was lying. Could it be to trick everyone into going to Mount Yulong? Young Master Qin smiled and transmitted his voice to Lu Xian. "There are indeed black tortoise fruits. Brother Lu, if you can help me pick 1 or 2 of them, not only will I give you all the divine marrow, my Qin clan will also compensate you with enough divine origin gold." "I'll try my best." Lu Li nodded. He didn't care about compensation. What he cared about was the spirit marrow. For him, the spirit marrow was more important than 100 Xianwu fruits. Everyone's opinions were unified, and they all rushed towards the west. It would take 4 to 5 days to get to Mount Yulong, and the journey was rather long. If he returned empty-handed from Mount Yulong, he would have wasted 10 days. For the black tortoise fruit, it was worth it. The group advanced quickly, and they constantly encountered savages and demons along the way. They were all low-level demons and savages, and they did not get close to the big tribes, so the journey was very safe. Lu Li rarely fought, and he hardly spoke. The more he spoke, the more mistakes he made. He even changed his voice when he spoke. Qin Zhan took good care of him. Every time, he would take the initiative and Luli didn't have to do anything. After walking for 3 days, the group found many corpses of savages in a mountain range. These savages had not died for long, which meant that someone had passed by. Are they also going to Mount Yulong? Qin Zhan wrinkled his brows. Ordinary clans didn't know that Mount Yulong had the black tortoise fruit. This was only discovered by a third tribulation deity from their clan last year. Many people knew about the spirit marrow of Mount Yulong, but the spirit marrow was of little value. Ordinary families wouldn't go there. The Yuanya world was too big. They had been walking for so long, but they hadn't met a single team. They didn't expect to meet people when they were almost at Yulong Mountain. Go! Qin Zhan's heart tightened. Don't let someone beat you to it. Everyone sped up, but Luli was having a hard time. If he didn't use the carefree steps, it would be difficult for him to keep up with the others. If he used the carefree steps, he would give himself away. There's no need to be so anxious. We won't be able to escape. There's a powerful demon over there. It'll be very difficult to attack in a short period of time. Qin Zhan noticed that Luli was struggling, so he slowed down a bit. The others looked at Qin Zhan with suspicion. Just now, Qin Zhan was also the most anxious. Why did he suddenly slow down? Lady Qiong looked at Luli but didn't say anything. They slowed down their speed and rushed on. After just half a day, the group discovered the corpses of 3 groups of savages and 4 groups of demons. Clearly, 1 or 2 teams had gone to the Yulong Mountain. They kept on running. After more than half a day, they finally arrived at the Yulong Mountain. Luli looked into the distance and saw a mountain in front of him. It was like a dragon entrenched in the wilderness. The mountain was long and tall, especially the dragon's head, which was almost up to the clouds. It was covered with ice and snow, looking very strange. The spirit marrow and the black tortoise fruit are on the dragon's head. Young Master Qin pointed his sword at the dragon's head and said, "But there are thousands of demons in this mountain. The demons here are made up of 2 races, the succubus race and the black armor race. The succubus race is good at soul attacks, while the black armor race is good at physical attacks. They have strong defense and sharp attacks. This will be a tough fight." Boom, boom, boom. Right at that moment, there came some sounds of explosion at the dragon's head. Everyone looked over and saw some figures flashing around. There were all kinds of glaring lights. Blood cut? It's young Master Bu and the others. Lady Mu shouted in surprise. Lu Li's heart sank. Young Master Bu and young Master Fu were together. Enemies always meet. Unexpectedly, they ran into each other here. Boom, boom, boom. More sound of explosion came from the tail of the dragon's head. Everyone looked over and someone shouted, "There's another team over there." 2 teams. There was an advantage in numbers. It would be easier to suppress the demons, but it would be more difficult to fight for the miraculous herb. According to the old rules, the miraculous herb belonged to whoever got it. No one was allowed to fight for it. Otherwise, once the matter was exposed, the other big families would join forces to suppress them. It seems that the information about the black tortoise fruit has been leaked. Qin Zhan sighed, but soon his eyes lit up. He said, "The 2 teams can help us share some of the pressure. How about we go directly to the Dragon's Head Mountain? How about we get the black tortoise fruit?" The other 3 started to think about it. Going to the Dragon's Head Mountain was like going straight to the root of the problem. They would be under the most pressure. If they were to fight against the powerful warriors of the demon race, young Master Fu and young Master Bu might take advantage of the situation and get the black tortoise fruit. Everyone would be so angry that they would spit out blood. Let's sneak into the mountain first and wait. We will make our move based on the situation. Lady Qiong said. The others nodded in agreement. Young Master Qin took the lead and led the way. They concealed their qi and energy and moved forward with caution. They didn't run into any demons after they entered the mountain. Many of them were attracted by young Master Fu, but the powerful warriors of the demon race didn't make any moves. The demon race was not like the savage race. They were highly intelligent. Naturally, they would not be lured away. The Dragon's Head Mountain was their base camp. There should be some sacred glyphs there. If they fought there, they would be more powerful. Boom, 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 boom. The powerful warriors of the demon race didn't make any moves. Young Master Fu and the other team killed the demons easily. The two teams searched for elixirs in the mountain and moved closer to the dragon's head. Young Master Qin, Lu Li, and the others also moved closer to the dragon's head. They didn't fight or make any noise. Besides, psychic power could not be used here. Therefore, the two teams didn't know of their existence. Kill! An angry shout came through the wilderness. Young Master Fu and the others started to attack the Dragon's Head Mountain. The other team moved out as well. Young Master Zhu was worried, but he didn't act rashly. We can't wait any longer. Qinzhan showed some ruthlessness in his eyes. He said to Lu Li and the other three, same as before, we will go to the front to attract their attention. You go and search for the divine marrow and the black tortoise fruit. The most important thing is the black tortoise fruit. You must get it. Don't take the initiative to attack others. If anyone attacks you, just kill them. Brother Lu, young Master Qin sent a private message to Lu Li. The divine marrow is in the dragon's horn mountain at the dragon's head. The black tortoise fruit is on the dragon's horn mountain. The black tortoise fruit is grown from the divine marrow. But there should be some powerful sacred glyphs on the dragon's horn mountain. We are counting on you. I will do my best. Chapter 2013. Young Master Qin and the others made their move. A group of people directly soared into the sky and rushed towards Dragon Head Mountain, attracting countless gazes. Ha ha ha! Young Master Ji's laughter rang out from afar. Qinzhan, Yu Qiong, you two actually came too? Looks like many people know about the black tortoise fruit. Young Master Li continued. Since we are here, let's work together and suppress this demon first. Later, we will fight for the black tortoise fruit with our own abilities. Kill! Young Master Qin and the others roared and rushed up the mountain peak to join the battle. Countless demons rose into the air and began a bloody battle. Many of the fiend race were very strong. However, young Master Qin and the others had secret treasures. With so many people working together to suppress them, the pressure should not be too great. However, it was almost impossible to kill all the fiend race in a short amount of time. Buzz! The space around the Dragon Head Mountain rippled, and faint runes appeared in the sky. They intertwined, and a terrifying aura spread out. It was obvious that the demon race had used their clan protecting divine runes to kill Qinzhan and the others. Go! Lu Li and the other three sneaked to the side of the mountain, gazing at the horns of the Dragon Head Mountain in the distance. There was an iceberg on Dragon Head Mountain that pierced through the clouds. It looked like a dragon's horn. See if I can drill into the ground? While walking, Lu Li took out a long sword and tried to dig into the ground. His sword went in easily. His eyes lit up, and just when he was about to drill in, the other three sneered. One of them said, "Stop dreaming. Even if you can go to the summit from underground, the surroundings of the Dragon Horn Mountain are filled with divine runes. Even if you go there, you won't be able to drill out. If there's a divine pattern underground, you won't even know how you died." At this moment, there was a great battle on the mountain peak. If it weren't for the protection of the divine runes, the Dragon Head Mountain would have long since been destroyed. Therefore, going underground was completely impossible, and there was even a possibility of being killed by the divine inscriptions of the Dragon Head Mountain. I'll give it a try. If it doesn't work, I'll come back to you guys. Lu Li thought about it and went down. The other three sneered and left Lu Li alone. They continued to move towards the peak. They could not stop Lu Li from courting death. Lu Li didn't think he was courting death. He knew very well that the families must have sent people to the Dragon Horn Mountain. With so many people fighting for a head-on, it would be very difficult for him to snatch it. The most important thing was what he needed the most was the divine quintessence. But the divine quintessence was inside the Dragon Horn Mountain. He had to break open the divine pattern of the Dragon Horn Mountain. Otherwise, how could he get the divine quintessence? While a group of people were fighting over the black tortoise fruit, it was only right for him to obtain the divine quintessence first. Lu Li dared not to make too much noise. He rushed all the way to the bottom of the mountain and calculated the distance. When he arrived at the foot of the Dragonhorn Mountain, he slowly dug upwards and flew all the way up. The digging was fast. In the time for one incense stick to burn, Luli had reached the Dragon Head Mountain. He found the divine patterns as well. There were powerful divine patterns on the Dragon Head Mountain. Luli could feel the danger from thousands of feet away. Blood Fairy, lead the way. Luli said, you don't have to crack the runes completely. To make a path for me to go through. Blood Fairy reached out and reached into the patterns. Luli waited patiently. At the same time, he used a trace of Great Path to check. As expected, there were battles going on in some places above. From time to time, the ground would tremble, but they were all blocked by the divine patterns. After the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, Blood Fairy said, Master, opening a path is not a problem, but it will take some time. At least an hour. That long? Luli's heart was weighed down. It could not be that in an hour, the marrow and the black tortoise fruits would all be taken away. After some thoughts, Luli ordered, crack it. Hurry up. If he went back now, it would be a waste of time. Since Blood Fairy could crack it, then he still had hope. He could only hope that the battles outside could last longer. If someone else got to the fruits before him, then he could only blame it on his bad luck. Boom, boom, boom. The battles outside would not end anytime soon. Over 1,000 of the Asmodeans had been killed, but there were still over 3,000 left. More importantly, with the help of the divine patterns, many human warriors would suffer from soul attacks from time to time. Therefore, even though the young masters and young ladies had taken out their artifacts, it was still difficult for them to kill their way in, not to mention that several powerful warriors of the Asmodeans were strong. If it were not for the protection of the artifacts, the human warriors would have lost their lives. Previously, Qin Zhan and the others were unhappy to see young Master Fu and the others. But at this moment, they realized that without young Master Fu and the other two teams, it would be impossible for them to break in without a few days. Moreover, the people they brought would probably all die, and they might not even be able to obtain the black tortoise fruit. Now, there were 3 teams and 40 to 50 powerful warriors. Even the progress of breaking into the Dragonhorn Mountain was slow. They must clear the place bit by bit and kill the low-level ones first. As for those who went to get the treasures, none of them went to the Dragonhorn Mountain. How could they sneak in when the Asmodeans were everywhere? They had to kill the low-level ones at the periphery first and then find a way in. Young Master Qin and the others had treasures. Their armors were engraved with hundreds of divine patterns. The laws and fundamental principles they had learned were strong. In addition, they had all kinds of miraculous skills. Young Master Qin and the others were dealing with the low-level ones. The efficiency was low, but as time went by, they would make their way in. Once they made it in, they could send people to get the black tortoise fruits. In an hour, 1,000 or 2,000 of the Asmodeans were killed, and less than 1,000 were left. Young Master Qin, Lady Qiong, young Master Gu, and the others had a tacit understanding. All of them bellowed and released their treasures, suppressing the powerful Asmodeans and forcing them to retreat. At the same time, the warriors sent by the families to get the treasures all made their way to the Dragonhorn Mountain behind the base camp of the Asmodeans and started to fight for the black tortoise fruits. Powerful Asmodeans of the Asmodeans were enraged. They wanted to stop those warriors, but young Master Qin and the others attacked fiercely and stalled them. Where is Qin Long? Qin Zhan was surprised to see that Luli was not among the warriors who rushed to the back. Luli was on his side to get the black tortoise fruits. Now that he could not see Luli, what was the point of risking his life here? Qin Zhan's interspatial ring glowed as he took out a piece of tortoise shell. He sensed for a while and suddenly looked towards the Dragonhorn Mountain. He was surprised. Through the tortoise shell, he could feel the qi and energy of the tortoise shell on Luli. He found that Luli had entered the interior of the Dragonhorn Mountain. What? Qin Zhan was surprised. Then he looked towards the top of the Dragonhorn Mountain. He could faintly see a 5-colored tree at the top of the Dragonhorn Mountain. On the tree, there were 5 golden fruits that were glowing. Black tortoise fruit, Brother Lu, you must get it, Qin Zhan murmured. There was a glint of worry in his eyes. Even though Lu Li had entered the interior of the Dragonhorn Mountain, The Dragon Horn Mountain was covered with powerful divine patterns. Could Luli crack the divine patterns and get the black tortoise fruits before everyone else got there? Xinjiang was not so sure. He had to bellow and strike the huge pagoda in his hand. They must stall the powerful Asmodeans. Otherwise, the Asmodeans might destroy the black tortoise fruits. They also needed to create enough time for Lu Li and the others. Otherwise, everyone's blood would be spilled in vain. Chapter 2014. Luli was indeed in the Dragon Horn Mountain. Blood Fairy had cracked a corner of the rune on the ground, which enabled Luli to enter the Dragon Horn Mountain from the Dragon Head Mountain. However, after entering the Dragon Horn Mountain, Luli could not move forward even an inch. The Dragon Horn Mountain was full of divine glyphs, and they were natural-born slayers' divine glyphs. Luli sensed a fatal danger. If he dared to move, he would be smashed into pieces. Divine marrow. Luli smelled a special scent, like the scent of an elk. It was lingering and lingering. The smell of divine marrow was special and easy to recognize. Xinjiang also said that there was a piece of divine marrow in the Dragon Horn Mountain. It must be up there. Luli was excited. If he could get his hands on this piece of divine marrow, his divine body would have a breakthrough. He might not be able to fight against warriors at the peak of the Third Tribulation, but he could at least defeat average warriors of the Third Tribulation. This was one of the 10 treasures of body refinement. Luli let Blood Fairy out and said, "Blood Fairy, you don't have to crack it completely. Just crack a corner and let me go up. There is divine marrow on it, which is of vital importance to me." Understood. Blood Fairy went to check. Cracking the runes was good for her. She could verify the runes she had learned and experiment. In this way, her knowledge of runes could be improved quickly. Boom, boom, boom. 11 warriors came, 4 to each team. Young Master Qin's team had 11 people because Luli was not there. The 11 came to the Dragon Horn Mountain, which was not guarded by any monsters. There was only a formation of confusion. The Dragon Horn Mountain was protected by powerful runes. Not even the powerful ones could go up. They had to wait for the black tortoise fruit to ripen before they came down. Therefore, they did not set up an army here, just a formation of confusion. The formation of confusion was simple. The 11 cracked it easily and went up to the Dragon Horn Mountain. The Dragon Horn Mountain was 2 miles high. The entire mountain was like an icicle, crystal clear. Looking from the distance, it looked more like a dragon's horn. They had just climbed up to 1,000 feet when none of them dared to move. All of a sudden, cold air came out from the Dragon Horn Mountain. The coldness enveloped the Dragon Horn Mountain. The black tortoise tree at the peak was faintly visible, which was quite strange. What a terrifying divine inscription. The expert from the Mu clan, Mu Yuan, drew in a breath of cold air. He had studied divine inscriptions for many years, and the one he saw now was the most terrifying one he had ever seen. Not only that, it was a naturally formed divine inscription. This cold chi made him shudder. If he rashly went up, he would be frozen into an ice sculpture, and his life source would be erased in an instant. The others all felt the danger and didn't dare to move. The black tortoise fruit was only 900 zhang away from them. Normally, they would be able to rush over and grab all the fruits in the blink of an eye. However, at this moment, they could only watch from afar. Xiao, one of them suddenly flew up into the air and rushed towards the top of the mountain. He stretched out his hand to grab a black tortoise fruit. Rip! The black tortoise tree at the top of the mountain suddenly trembled slightly, and then a white stream of air shot out from the Dragon Horn Mountain, instantly enveloping that person. Hiss, hiss! The 10 people below were filled with shock, and they sucked in cold breaths. After the person above was enveloped by the cold chi, he instantly died, and countless small cracks appeared on his body. In the end, he turned into dust, and not even his bones were left. So horrible. Some people even had the thought of retreating. How could they pick the black tortoise fruit with such horrible divine glyphs? Getting the black tortoise fruit was a great achievement, but staying alive was more important. Buzz! Miyuan took out a magic tool, which was a bronze mirror. He activated the bronze mirror and shot out beams of yellow light. The yellow light penetrated into the cold chi and actually melted it slowly. Although the speed was as slow as a snail, there was some progress. A warrior of the Zhu family next to him took out a brown wooden stick. That wooden stick pierced into the cold chi, but it was not destroyed by the cold chi. Instead, it began to absorb the cold chi slowly. The others took out their own magic treasures and methods, trying to break the divine glyphs. They had no other way. Since they couldn't get the black tortoise fruit quickly, they could only break it bit by bit, hoping that Qin Zhan and young Master Fu could buy enough time. This speed is so slow. I guess it will take at least 2 or 3 days to get up. Mian murmured and looked back. Listening to the roars behind him, he was not so sure. If they could not withstand the divine glyphs and had to retreat, then the 10 of them would all die. They couldn't even run away. The others were complaining to themselves. The entire Dragonhorn Mountain was covered with divine glyphs that could weaken the warrior's divine energy. Inside, the loss of divine energy was even more serious. If Qin Zhan and the others could kill some powerful beasts, then it would be fine. If they could not, then it would be difficult for them to survive for 2 or 3 days. At this point, there was no other way out. They made up their minds and continued to work on the divine glyphs. Bit by bit, they climbed up the mountain. Luli sat with his legs crossed. He also realized that his divine energy was losing rapidly. But he was not worried because he had the divine liquid. He could replenish his divine energy by consuming a few drops. What he was worried about was the divine glyphs. The divine glyphs here were so strong. Could Blood Fairy make a way out? Master, after the time for 3 incense sticks to burn, Blood Fairy finally said, I cannot. The divine glyphs here are too complicated. They are all formed naturally. The divine glyphs here are too strong. It will be hard to solve them. Luli was disappointed. The treasure was right in front of him, but he felt it was so far away. He could smell it, but not touch it. It was painful. Master, don't be hasty, Blood Fairy said again. I will take another look and see if I can find a way. While waiting, Luli thought about it. Should he use the divine metal to force his way up? The divine metal was likely to be a fragment of a holy emperor's divine weapon. The divine metal could be so powerful that it could stand the divine glyphs. The problem was that the divine metal was too powerful. All the disciples here were from major families. They might be able to figure something out based on the divine metal. If someone could tell that he had a holy emperor's divine weapon, then there would be no place for him in the entire second heaven. As a matter of fact, Luli did not know the value of a fragment of a holy emperor's divine weapon. However, when young Master Fu held a fake fragment of a holy emperor's divine weapon, many people were drooling with envy. Luli's fragment might be more valuable than a fake holy weapon. After all, it contained the mark of a holy weapon. The value was immeasurable. No, I cannot use the divine metal unless it is a matter of life and death. Soon, Luli made up his mind. He could not take the risk. Unless it was a fatal situation, he could not use the divine metal. Otherwise, once the outside world learned about it, he would be hunted down by all the forces of the second heaven. Even the Demon King might come after him. By then, not only would he be unable to ascend to heaven, but the divinity would also be implicated. Many people would go to the divinity to capture his family and force him to give up the divine metal. If he could not get the divine marrow, he could find another way. Or, after several years, when Blood Fairy's attainment in divine glyphs improved, she could come back with young Master Qin. Once the divine metal was exposed, he would be doomed eternally. What? Chapter 2015. Outside, a group of people were trying to decipher the divine inscriptions, weakening the power of the divine inscriptions. This gave Blood Fairy an opportunity. Before, Blood Fairy would not have been able to do anything because the power was too strong. Luli waited patiently. He waited for half a day, but Blood Fairy did not send him any message. He did not know what was going on. Okay. After an entire day, Blood Fairy said in delight, Master, I have found a way. Give me half a day, and I will open up a path for you to get to the marrow. Okay. Luli was overjoyed. It did not matter if he could get the black tortoise fruit or not. All he wanted was to get the marrow. They should be able to hold out for half a day. As long as those outside were still alive, he would be safe inside. Blood Fairy worked quickly. As time went on, the 10 outside began to notice something was wrong. This was because they discovered that the speed at which they were deciphering the divine inscriptions had increased. It was as though the might of the divine inscriptions was weakening. Blood Fairy was deciphering the divine inscriptions, weakening the power of the divine inscriptions, making it much easier for the people outside to decipher them. The faster they were working, the easier it was for Blood Fairy to stay inside. The cycle continued. In the distance, there were noises of fighting. The battle was fierce. Young Master Cheen and the others were attacking with all their might to buy time for those inside. The black tortoise fruit was precious. This was a rare chance. They must do their best. More than half of the Demon Clan had been killed, leaving less than 200 Demon Clan members. However, these 200 Demon Clan members were all experts. The human side suffered heavy losses as well. Half of the 40 to 50 outside were dead. Most of the survivors were wounded. Even young Master Cheen was bleeding from his mouth. Clearly, he had suffered from internal injuries. They had lost a lot of divine energy. After such a long fight, their abilities had been weakened. If it were not for the fact that they had treasures, they would have been forced to retreat. How come we are still not done? Young Master Zhu murmured. At this rate, all the warriors they brought would die. Even if they had treasures, who could guarantee that they could stay alive? Many were thinking of retreating. The monsters had the geographical advantage. The longer they fought, the more disadvantageous it would be for them. However, they could not kill the powerful ones of the monsters. The monsters were smart. They did not want to fight to the death. They wanted to exhaust the human side with the formation. However, they had already fought to this extent. Could they retreat? What if the monsters inside were to succeed? If they retreated, not only would all their efforts be in vain, but those inside would also die. Kill. Fight to the death. Young Master Cheen roared angrily as he charged towards a demon expert. His roar was very loud, reminding the people inside to speed up. If he could get the black tortoise fruit, it would be faster. If he couldn't, he would withdraw. Half a day later, the 10 people were halfway up the mountain. They were only a kilometer away from the black tortoise fruits. Their eyes were red as they stared at the 5 fruits, their faces filled with excitement. At the same time, the 10 of them were also secretly on guard. There were only 5 fruits, but there were 10 of them. When the time came, they would definitely fight over them, and a great battle would break out. If they were not careful, they would die on Dragonhorn Mountain. Master is almost there. Blood Fairy said to Lu Li's mind. Those outside have sped up. I'm less stressed now. Give me 2 hours, and I will be able to find a way out. All right. Lu Li's breaths quickened. 2 hours was a short time, but he felt like a year. He silently counted the time. 2 hours later, Blood Fairy's voice sounded in his mind. Master, it's done. Come with me. Okay. Blood Fairy reached out her tentacle. Lu Li followed her tentacle and moved upward. Almost at the same time, the 10 people's eyes glowed. They realized that the cold air was much weaker now. They could solve the black tortoise fruits faster. Faster, faster, faster. The 10 worked on the black tortoise fruits like crazy. They were only 1,000 feet away from the peak. Based on their current progress, they could reach the peak in 2 hours at most. While they were solving the black tortoise fruits, the 10 were even more on guard, fearing that someone else would knock them down. Marrow. Lu Li followed Blood Fairy through the Dragonhorn Mountain. He dug out a small, winding tunnel. An hour later, he finally arrived at the middle part of the Dragonhorn Mountain. The middle and upper part of the Dragonhorn Mountain was hollow, and there was a white and yellow liquid in it. When Lu Li broke it open, he smelled an extremely comfortable smell. After taking a few breaths, he felt he had inexhaustible strength in his body. This is good. He had merely absorbed some of the smell, and it was already so effective. If he could consume the marrow, his physical body would be improved by leaps and bounds. What? He took a closer look. There were many roots in the marrow, intertwined and densely packed. Xinjiang was right. The Shin tortoise tree was nurtured by the marrow. Without the marrow, the Xian tortoise tree could not grow, let alone bear the Xian tortoise fruit. Put it away. Luli did not refuse. He took out the mountain. He wanted to put in all the marrow. However, the mountain glowed but could not be put away. Master, the runes here affect space. Interspatial artifacts cannot be moved. Blood Fairy said. Luli had no choice but to take out many jade bottles and fill them up. There was a large amount of marrow, enough to fill up a square meter. Luli took out more jade bottles and filled them up. Later on, Luli realized it was too slow. He took out some bigger jars and filled them up. In this way, the spiritual energy in the marrow would dissipate, but it would be more efficient. When they got out, Luli could put all the marrow back into the mountain. The runes on the mountain could prevent the spiritual energy from escaping. It would take him an hour to collect all the marrow in the jars. While Luli was pretending to be a divine essence, something strange happened outside. The Xian tortoise tree began to wriggle, as if it was trying to break free from the Dragonhorn Mountain and fly away. The Xian tortoise tree was a miraculous herb in nature. Luli was collecting the marrow. The roots of the Xian tortoise tree were inside. Naturally, he could feel it. The marrow was nourishment for the Xian tortoise tree. Without the marrow, the Xian tortoise tree would wither. That was why the Xian tortoise tree was trembling. The 10 people outside did not know what was going on. They thought the Xian tortoise tree sensed danger and was about to fly away. Hoi! The 10 worked harder. They used their treasures and skills to crack the runes. As they worked, they were getting closer to the Xian tortoise tree. They could smell the fragrance from the Xian tortoise fruits. Plop, plop, looking at the 5 sparkling fruits. Some people even swallowed a few mouthfuls of saliva. Some even had the urge to rush up and grab the black tortoise fruits. 1,000 feet, 500 feet, 100 feet. They were now 100 feet away from the Xian tortoise tree. They could use skills at any time. The Xian tortoise tree was shaking more and more violently. Right at that moment, something strange happened again. The Xian tortoise tree trembled violently. It was about to fly away. However, when the Xian tortoise tree flew for only 2 or 3 feet, it shrank back into the ground. It was as if someone had reached out a strong hand from underground and pulled the Xian tortoise tree into the ground from the peak of the mountain. Everyone blinked and found that the peak of the mountain had become barren. Nothing was left, not even the tree, let alone the fruits underground. Chapter 2016. Powerful warriors of the Mu family were enraged as well. Last time at the Dragon Valley, Luli had taken so many herbs by himself. This time, he was going to take all of them for himself. Therefore, he shouted in a loud voice that resounded through the entire Dragon Head Mountain. The warriors of the Mu family were taken aback. Young Master Fu, young Master Gu, and young Master Bu were enraged as well. More than half of the warriors of the families had died. They had been fighting for such a long time, and all of them were wounded. How could Qin Long get all the black tortoise fruits? It was Luli who pulled the black tortoise tree down. He had just put away all the marrow when he saw the root of the black tortoise tree was moving upward. Out of instinct, Luli grabbed the main root of the black tortoise tree and pulled hard. Unexpectedly, the entire black tortoise tree was pulled down. The black tortoise tree was pulled down, but its branches and leaves were not destroyed. The 5 golden fruits blinded Luli's eyes. Powerful warriors of the Mu family shouted, which made Luli speechless. He didn't have much hope for the black tortoise fruits. He didn't expect that he could get all of them so easily. Now that he had them, he didn't hesitate. He picked the 5 fruits and put them into his interspatial ring. He was about to throw the black tortoise tree away and dig into the ground. On second thought, the black tortoise tree was also a treasure. Maybe in the future, when he had more marrow, he could cultivate the black tortoise tree and grow more black tortoise fruits. Buzzing, he put the black tortoise tree into his interspatial ring. He could not use his interspatial artifact, but his interspatial ring could. Luli went down and disappeared into the cave in the middle of the Dragonhorn Mountain. Let's go back. The 10 looked at each other. They still had some divine patterns that were not broken. It would take them some time to go up the mountain. They thought the Qin family warriors would come out from the cave at some point. It would be easier for them to go out and intercept them. They were so angry. They were about to go up the Dragonhorn Mountain. The cooked duck had flown away. Luli had taken 5 fruits in one go, which was outrageous. The 10 rushed down the mountain toward young Master Qin and the others. The demons on the other side were also going crazy. The black tortoise tree was their sacred tree. Not only were they plucking the fruits, but they were also not letting the tree off. Retreat! Lady Qiong waved her hand, and the gourd in her hand shone with a purple light, sending one of the monster clan experts flying. Young Master Qin and the others all activated their secret treasures to repel the monster clan expert, and the group rushed down the mountain. The remaining demonic race experts chased for a distance and didn't dare to pursue anymore. Without the amplification and suppression of the Dragonhorn Mountain's divine inscriptions, they weren't a match for young Master Qin and the others. If they continued to chase, they would all be killed. Where is Qin Long? Young Master Fu was walking together with the warriors of his clan. After a few voice transmissions, he looked at Qin Zhan and said, "Brother Qin, so many people from the major clans have died this time, and your clan wants to monopolize all the black tortoise fruits. Isn't this unreasonable?" Whoosh! Right at that moment, a man flew over from the mountain. It was Lu Li, who was disguised as Qin Long. When he heard young Master Fu's words, his expression changed slightly. It seemed that young Master Fu and the others wanted to split the spoils of war. Swish, swish, swish. A group of people looked over and locked onto Lu Li. Seeing that he could not run away, Lu Li made up his mind and rushed over. He stood beside Qin Zhan, cupped his hands, and said, "Young Master, this subordinate is incompetent. The divine medicine escaped from underground, and this subordinate was unable to catch up." A group of people was stunned. Then, many of them sneered. Lu Li was confessing without being pressed. He said that he was underground, which meant that the black tortoise tree had something to do with him. Qin Long and Lu Li looked at each other and understood at once. Qin Long nodded and said, "All divine medicines in heaven and earth have intelligence. The Dragonhorn Mountain is full of sacred glyphs. It is inevitable that the divine medicine escaped. Qin Long, don't blame yourself." "Ha ha ha." Young Master Ge laughed out loud. "You two have put on a good show. 3 warriors of the Ge family died, and so many warriors of other clans have died. You want to monopolize the black tortoise fruits? Let's see if we agree first." "That's right." Young Master Bu nodded and said, "Brother Qin, share the fruits. Let's not hurt the harmony. Young Master Qin, share the black tortoise fruits. Or else, you want to monopolize it? No way. Our men died for nothing." The others echoed. Even though they could not share the 5 black tortoise fruits, 1 black tortoise fruit was worth at least billions of divine origin gold. The divine origin gold would be worth a lot as compensation. Oomph. Young Master Qin let out a cold smile. The giant pagoda appeared in his hand as he spoke with anger. "Harmony? Are you guys even the slightest bit friendly? If you want to fight, then let's fight. When have I, Qin Zhan, been afraid of anyone? Are you trying to bully us with numbers?" The gourd appeared in young Lady Qiong's hand. She looked at the group with cold eyes and said, "Let's not talk about whether Qin Long obtained the black tortoise fruits. Even if he did, according to the Yuan Yi world's rules, it belongs to whoever obtains it. Do you want to break the rules? Do you want to cause a war between all the clans in the Stormy Sea region?" Young Lady Mu stood beside young Master Qin with a beaming smile. She looked over and said, "Young masters are usually sanctimonious, but for a few black tortoise fruits, you have revealed your true intentions. This little sister is very disappointed. Count me in." Young Master Zhu clenched his teeth and stood together with young Master Qin. Their 4 clans were in an alliance, and now that Qin Zhan was in trouble, he naturally couldn't sit and watch. Furthermore, Qin Zhan was so forthright. Perhaps he would share a fruit with him? Qin Zhan's side was left with 11 men, and 9 of them had perished. Young Master Fu's side was left with 21 men, and nearly half of them had perished. There was a great disparity in strength between the 2 sides. After all, it was 1 team against 2 teams. Young Master Fu and the others hesitated. Qin Zhan clearly had the attitude of fighting to the death. If they were to fight, something big might happen. Whether they were killed or Qin Zhan was killed, it would cause a chaotic war in the Stormsea area. However, everyone was holding their breaths. Their two teams didn't get a single fruit, and so many of their men had perished. How could they be willing to accept this? Young Master Fu turned his eyes and looked at Qin Long. Since Qin Long said he didn't get the black tortoise fruits, then hand over his interspatial ring and interspatial artifact for us to search. If not, we will apologize to Qin Long. If there is, how about we split it? Right. The others shouted one after another. Some of them saw with their own eyes that the black tortoise tree was forcefully pulled into the ground. It didn't look like it escaped underground by itself. The black tortoise fruits must have been obtained by Lu Li. Qin Long and the others' expressions darkened. Young Master Fu pointed at the vital point and stood on the moral high ground. Qin Zhan knew that Lu Li got the black tortoise fruits. How could he be willing to spit out the fat meat that was already in his mouth? If young Master Fu's men got it, they wouldn't share a single one. However, if they didn't search it, young Master Fu and the others might take the opportunity to make a move. Lady Qiong and the others frowned as well. They didn't know how to deal with this situation. Once young Master Fu and the others made a move, they could send someone to stall the four of them, and then send someone to kill Lu Li and take the interspatial ring. As long as the four of them weren't killed, it wouldn't cause a chaotic war in the Stormsea area. Ha. Lu Li suddenly laughed. He looked at young Master Fu and said, "Young Master Fu, you can search me. I will take off my clothes for you to search. There are some young ladies here, and it is not nice. How about we go over there? But only you are allowed. If there are more people, I am afraid that you will try to assassinate me." Chapter 2017. It was normal for Lu Li to want to kill him. He regretted not killing young Master Fu last time. He and the Fu family were like fire and water. Given a chance, the Fu family would not let him go. Once his identity was exposed, young Master Fu would try his best to kill him. Now that young Master Fu was so aggressive, Lu Li had the urge to kill him. He could teleport out of the Yuan Yi world at random anyway. He was not afraid that the Fu family would stop him. After he left, he would teleport back to the Omen Island. The Fu family would not dare to go to the Omen Island to find him. Young Master Fu squinted. Why did the Qin family want him to search himself? This was so strange that he had to be on guard. The others were shocked. Did Lu Li really not get the black tortoise fruit? Otherwise, how could he ask young Master Fu to search him? "Brother Lu," Qin Zhan said, "let's not make a big fuss. After all, he is the Fu family's godson. We will make a big fuss." Ha. Lu Li replied with a smile. "It's not us who will make a fuss. It's him. I've killed godsons. Don't worry, young Master Qin. If I do, I will announce my identity. As long as you tell me where the exit is, I will leave some black tortoise fruits for you." Okay. Young Master Qin nodded. Even if Lu Li didn't do anything, young Master Fu and the others would not let it go. Lu Li would die, for sure, and the black tortoise fruits would be taken away. To the southwest, there is a flame volcano. Qin Zhan said, "As long as you find the flame volcano and go to the peak, you can get out. You can go to a branch of the Qin family and leave 2 black tortoise fruits. I owe you a big favor. Also, if you can avoid death, it's better to be more cautious." No problem. Qin Zhan's price was not high. Lu Li would be happy even if he asked for 3 black tortoise fruits. After all, they had a deal. Lu Li was satisfied with the marrow. Young Master Fu thought about it for a while. He glanced over Lu Li and said in a deep voice, "Okay, you and I will go over there. I will search. If there is no black tortoise fruit, I will apologize to Brother Qin Long solemnly." "Young Master, let me go," a 3-tribulation divine god of the Fu family said worriedly. Young Master Fu didn't say anything, but Lu Li sneered and said, "What? Young Master Fu, are you afraid that I will harm you?" Ha. Young Master Fu laughed heartily and said, "Brother Qin Long must be joking. The Qin clan and the Fu clan have been on good terms for generations. How could such a thing happen? The Qin family will not do anything. and our Fu family will not do anything. Before young Master Fu left, he glanced at Qin Zhan. His meaning was clear. If Qin Long acted recklessly, then he could only kill him. Moreover, if something were to happen to him, Qin Zhan would have to consider the anger of the Fu family. Qin Zhan was expressionless, but he sighed heavily in his heart. Young Master Fu brought this upon himself, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. Since Lu Li had taken the initiative to set this up, it meant that he had absolute confidence. If Lu Li was determined to kill, young Master Fu would be doomed. Miss Qiong and Miss Mu looked at each other and were confused. Qin Long had obtained the black tortoise fruit. Why did he ask to be searched? What was he trying to do? Did Qin Long hide the black tortoise fruit? Or did Qin Zhan ask Qin Long to negotiate with young Master Fu and give him one black tortoise fruit? Not only Miss Qiong and Miss Mu, but also young Master Gu and young Master Bu had the same concern. If Qin Long was doing business with young Master Fu in private on behalf of Qin Zhan, then nobody would get anything. Was everyone going to search him? Let's go. Young Master Fu had taken the initiative to move forward. Lu Li followed him in silence. After they were more than 30 miles away, young Master Fu stood on a hill and said, "Brother Qin Long, let's do it here. Psychic power cannot be used here, and people over there can't see anything here. They won't be able to see you even if you take off all your clothes." Young Master Fu, why do you have to be so aggressive? Lu Li stopped and didn't ask to go further. He cupped his fists and said, "Young Master Fu, let's stop this. We owe you a favor." "Ha ha." Young Master Fu sneered and said, "I don't need your favor. If you can give me 3 black tortoise fruits, I can cover it up for you." Young Master Fu had taken the initiative to come here with this in mind. If they could reach an agreement in private, why would he offend Qin Zhan? 3 fruits? Don't you think you are too greedy? Lu Li showed a trace of anger on his face. He clenched his teeth and said, "One, just one. We can't part with the rest." "Ha, ha, ha. You really got the black tortoise fruit." Young Master Fu's face revealed a trace of malevolence. His killing intent soared as he said, "Qin Long, you need to know that if our 2 teams join hands to attack, we won't kill Qin Zhan. However, if we kill you, will the Qin clan find trouble with so many other clans? By then, all the black tortoise fruits will be ours." Lu Li showed a trace of surprise in his eyes. He thought for a while and said with his teeth clenched, "2. I can give you 2 at most. If you want more, then we'll have to fight to the death." 2. Young Master Fu's eyes lit up. There is only one ancestor of his family who is about to die. If he could bring back 2 fruits, it would be enough. It would be a great merit. He pretended to think about it and said, "Okay, give them to me. I will cover it up for you." "Do you think I am stupid?" Lu Li snorted and said, "I will give you one first. When we are about to get out, I will give you another one. If you go back on your words and announce it to the public later, I will be dead for sure." Young Master Fu's expression turned cold. But he thought it was not bad to get one first. He nodded and said, "Okay, give me one first." Buzzing, Lu Li's ring glowed. He took out a jade box and secretly threw it to young Master Fu. At the same time, he said in a low voice, "Open it with your back to them. Otherwise, you might see golden light." Young Master Fu bowed and grabbed the box with caution. After he made sure that Lu Li did not do anything rash, he was overjoyed. He opened the jade box quietly with his back to the crowd. When he saw a golden fruit inside and smelled good, he could no longer hold back the smile on his face. "Dragon wings out," Lu Li shouted in a deep voice. The robe on his back burst open. Then he rushed towards young Master Fu in a blur with the happy steps. Young Master Fu reacted quickly. He sensed the fatal danger. He put away the black tortoise fruit in his hand, and a porcelain fragment appeared in his hand. He immediately activated the treasure. "Die!" He put on a ferocious expression and glared at Lu Li. This puny disciple of the Qin family dared to sneak up on him? Was he trying to hang himself? Was he tired of living? Young Master Fu glanced over and was shocked. Since Lu Li had taken out the mask and had the dragon wings on his back, his appearance was very obvious. Young Master Fu asked in surprise, "You are the hell killing god?" "I didn't want to kill you. but you are courting death. Don't blame others. Chapter 2018. The power of the divine metal was too overwhelming. As soon as it was activated, he felt the clouds were moving and the heaven and earth were shaking. A surge of power spread out, suffocating young Master Fu. They were only 30 miles away from Qinzhan. The power of the divine metal covered an area with a radius of more than 300 miles. Everyone there felt it. Everyone was moved. Those that could survive were all-powerful warriors and knowledgeable. They could sense the power of secret artifacts the best, because their families had secret artifacts as well. Oh no! Qinzhan sighed to himself. Lu Li had made a move, and he had such a powerful secret artifact. Young Master Fu was doomed. Who is it? Lady Qiong, Lady Mu, young Master Gu, young Master Bu, and others were shocked. Was young Master Fu trying to kill Qin Long with his secret artifact? Was he not afraid that Qin Zhan and the Qin family would be enraged? Boom! Lu Li controlled the divine metal and smashed it down. Young Master Fu's porcelain shard flew out and smashed at Lu Li. Lu Li aimed at the shard and smashed at it. Bang! The porcelain shard was smashed into dust. It could not stop Lu Li at all. The porcelain shard was a secret artifact, but it was like a regular piece of porcelain that could be smashed at a touch. Ah! Young Master Fu shouted in surprise. His eyes were filled with fear. He shouted, "Got a massacre, don't kill me, boom." Lu Li had always been decisive in killing. Now that he had made a move, he would not be merciful. He smashed down with the divine metal. The divine metal landed on young Master Fu. Young Master Fu's armor glowed, but could not stand it. It was smashed into pieces. The armor turned into dust. Then young Master Fu was smashed into a mist of blood. Got a massacre? Oh no! Young Master Gu and the others heard young Master Fu's screams and came to their senses. They flew up and flew towards Lu Li. Powerful warriors of the Fu family were the first to react. They were shocked as well. How come the god of massacre was here? Buzzing when Lu Li killed young Master Fu, a scout was sent out from the sacred mountain. That scout was captured in the pit of haze. Lu Li had it all figured out. When a scout was sent out, he would smash him into pieces with the divine metal. Lu Li had chosen a way out for Qinzhan. Otherwise, Qin Long would be the Grim Reaper, which would bring Qinzhan endless troubles. At this moment, if he smashed a scout's body into pieces, there would be no evidence. Who would be able to tell if it was Qin Long or someone else? The most important thing was that they couldn't use their spiritual will here. Otherwise, the spiritual will of the people on the other side would sweep over and detect everything. Naturally, everything would be exposed. In the blink of an eye, Lu Li had only smashed young Master Fu and the scout in the time it took for one breath. Young Master Gu and the others had just flown up, and Lu Li and young Master Fu were already minced meat. Another interspatial ring came out. Lu Li threw out another one secretly. Therefore, when young Master Gu and young Master Bu rushed over, they happened to see Lu Li grabbing the two interspatial rings. As for young Master Fu, he had turned into minced meat, mixed together with the scout's minced meat. Even young Master Fu's own mother wouldn't be able to recognize him. How dare you? Young Master Gu, young Master Bu, and the rest were enraged. Young Master Bu bellowed, "Hell's killing God! How dare you kill young Master Fu?" Ha ha! Lu Li changed back to his original voice and said, "I dare to kill young Master Yin. Why can't I kill young Master Fu? If you piss me off, I will kill you as well. The Fu family has troubled me many times. This is a warning to the Fu family. Time to go." Lu Li spread his wings and flew away in a blur. He used the relic iron, so he had no divine energy in his body, but he had dragon wings. His speed could be compared to the peak of the third tribulation, much faster than these people. Lu Li dared to kill young Master Fu because he was fast. All the warriors here were average warriors of the third tribulation. None of them were at the peak of the third tribulation. Nobody here could threaten his life. He would be teleported out at random. What was there to be afraid of? Lu Li was so fast that he disappeared into the sky in the south in the blink of an eye. The powerful warrior of the Fu family chased after him for a while. Seeing that he couldn't catch up with Lu Li, he roared and ran back. Grim Reaper, how dare you kill people in my family? We, the Qin family, will not let this go. Qin Zhan also chased for a distance. Then, they let out an angry roar. No one was suspicious. There were 2 pieces of flesh on young Master Fu's side. Their heads and bodies were smashed, but some of their limbs could still be seen. Ooh, looking at the corpses, Lady Mu felt sick. She looked away. Colorful intestines and some limbs were scattered on the ground. It was a disgusting sight. Lady Qiong looked at the pieces of flesh on the ground carefully. Her pretty face was pale, but there was a strange look in her eyes. After a while, she looked at Qin Zhan, who was running back. Her lips moved, and she said, Qin Zhan, are you not afraid that something bad will happen? Yeah. Qin Zhan looked at Lady Qiong. He didn't expect her to be so smart and to have guessed the truth. He thought about it and didn't hide it. He replied, I didn't give the order. It was his idea. I couldn't stop him. Young Master Fu is courting death. You know that he dared to kill the divine son of the Hall of Black Flame. He won't mind one more divine son of the Fu family. What's more, you saw his speed. He has rare treasures. In the Yuan Yu world, he is invincible. How audacious! Lady Qiong frowned and said, Qin Zhan, you should stay away from him in the future. This person has no scruples. I'm afraid the entire second heaven will be turned upside down by him. Sooner or later, something big will happen. I know. Thank you, Yu Qiong. Young Master Qin felt warm inside. At least, Lady Qiong was worried about him, which made him happy. As for Lady Qiong's warning, he didn't take it seriously. Which powerful warrior didn't climb up by stepping on dead bodies? As long as Lu Li could stay alive, he would have a bright future. Making a good friend like Lu Li could bring endless benefits to the Qin family. Qin Zhan admired Lu Li as well. At least, Lu Li did something that he didn't dare to do. Lu Li killed 2 divine sons without hesitation. Qin Zhan felt he couldn't compare with Lu Li's courage and heroism. Young Master, the powerful warrior of the Fu family, rushed back. He knelt on the ground and sobbed. Not only was he sad for young Master Fu, but he was also worried about his own fate. Young Master Fu was dead. Even if he was not killed when he returned to the family, he would have no future. Bang! He took out a jade talisman with divine patterns and crushed it. The Fu family sent out an alarm, indicating that young Master Fu had died in the Yuan Yu world. Young Master Bu of the Bu family also took out a special jade talisman and crushed it. Qin Zhan frowned. It wouldn't be long before the powerful warriors of the Fu family and the Bu family arrived at the nearby sea area. Even if Lu Li could get out, it was still unknown if he could make out alive. How come the god of massacre from hell showed up at such a coincidental time? Young Master Li murmured, which aroused everyone's doubts. Why did he show up when young Master Fu was searching for Qin Long and suddenly kill people? If there were black tortoise fruits in Qin Long's interspatial ring, then all of them would have been taken by the god of massacre. Okay, clean up the bodies. Lady Qiong covered her nose and waved her hand to get everyone's attention. She said, we should leave as soon as possible. Don't split up. Be careful of being killed by the god of massacre from hell one by one. This man could kill young Master Fu in one move. If he sneak attacks, we will all die. Lady Qiong's words shocked everyone. They didn't think too much about it, nor did they pay attention to the minced flesh on the ground. Let's go. Qin Zhan asked someone to clean up the minced flesh and buried it. Then, he looked at Lady Qiong gratefully. If it weren't for Lady Qiong's change of topic, they would have noticed something was wrong if they focused on the minced flesh. Chapter 2019. I must get out of here as soon as possible. Lu Li flew at the top of his speed. At the same time, he consumed the divine liquid to replenish his divine energy. He knew that if he killed young Master Fu, it would be the same as turning the world upside down. Not long after, the Fu family's men would appear in the Fu family's territorial waters. They might even seal off the entire region and no one would be able to leave. Lu Li didn't know how far the flame volcano was. He flew toward the southwest, not caring if he was exposed or not. In the Yuan world, he was the fastest. Nobody could catch up with him. He had nothing to worry about. After flying for half a day, Luli had recovered some divine energy. He ran into some wild humans and monsters along the way, and he killed them all. He was lucky that he didn't run into any humans. Woo-woo. After flying for another hour, he encountered another group of barbarians. These barbarians rushed out of the forest one after another and took turns to attack him with their bone clubs. He didn't dodge. He punched and smashed the wild humans to death. It's about time to go down there. Luli landed in the forest after he killed all the wild humans nearby. Flying above would make him a conspicuous target. He could easily attract monsters and wild humans. If he ran into powerful ones, he would be in big trouble. It was indeed safer to go down there. Luli had the trace of Tao, which gave him keen senses. He could sense the wild humans and monsters nearby. He took a detour and replenished his divine energy along the way. Without enough divine energy, the relic metal could not be activated. Even if it could not be used to its fullest potential. The relic metal could only be used once. Every time it was used up, Luli must replenish his divine energy. Without divine energy, he would not be able to use it. Therefore, he could not use it easily. If there were two powerful enemies, once he used the relic metal, his divine energy would be drained. By then, he would not be able to use the unfettered steps, and his speed would be slowed down. As time went on, Luli's divine energy was recovering. He felt more and more secure. He had abundant divine energy and unparalleled speed. He was absolutely safe in there. Also, he could use the relic metal at any time. Even if he ran into powerful enemies, he could still fight back. That was why he felt more secure. While Luli was on his way in peace, the outside world was in chaos. A powerful warrior of the Fu family crushed a jade talisman. The Fu family received the news at once. The death of the god's son meant that the next generation of the family had been killed. Not only would the family suffer a huge loss, but it also meant that the Fu family's dignity would be trampled on. The various clans of the Stormy Sea region would often wage war against each other, openly and covertly. However, they would all have a bottom line. They would not kill the divine sons of the other party, because this would destroy the foundation of the other party. Why were the great clans able to survive for so many years? Why were they glorious and powerful? It was precisely because their clans were constantly producing experts. Without experts, how could they protect their foundations? Every divine prince was the future hope of the family. They all consumed countless resources of the clan and represented the glory of the younger generation of the clan. The death of a divine son was more serious than the death of an elder, and it made the family even more furious. The Fu family head was furious. Countless experts of the Fu family immediately opened the domain gate and came out of the sea region. An old ancestor of the Fu family came out of seclusion and personally came over. The Fu clan announced that no matter which clan it was, anyone who dared to kill their divine son would have to pay the price. The entire Storm Sea region was shaken. Many clans were secretly worried. If someone from their clan killed young Master Fu, it would lead to a battle to the death between the two clans. Even if they didn't fight to the death, they would have to pay an extremely high price. Countless scouts rushed over to this side of the sea region. Some elders from the various clans also came. If it was someone from their clan who did it, they could at least stabilize the situation and prevent the Fu family from killing their divine sons and goddesses as well. For a moment, many heroes gathered in Iron Sun City outside the entrance of the Yuan world. The Fu family had already sent more than 1,000 people, and there were still more than 10,000 people being teleported over. The Fu family originally wanted to send people in, but they were opposed by the people from the various clans guarding the underwater city. Who knew which clan had killed young Master Fu? What if the experts from the Fu family went crazy and killed all the divine sons and goddesses of the various clans? The Fu family's people didn't force their way in. They only announced that whoever killed their divine son would have to pay with their life. Otherwise, The Fu family would fight to the death with the entire clan. For a moment, the entire Storm Sea region was in a state of panic. Many mid-level clans were trembling with fear. If their clans participated in this operation, their clans would be consigned to eternal damnation. Not only did the Fu family send out their own warriors, but they also mobilized many warriors attached to their clans. They were ready to surround the sea region with a radius of 30,000 miles. Those who came out were all teleported to the sea region with a radius of 30,000 miles. Once they were surrounded, none of them would be able to escape. The Bu family also came. Young Master Bu had sent a signal, but the Bu family didn't know whether it was because of young Master Bu or young Master Fu. Anyway, many powerful warriors of the Bu family were waiting at the Iron Sun City. Time passed day by day. On the fourth day, Luli arrived at the flame volcano. He had found the exit. There was a huge portal at the peak of the flame volcano. There was also a city with an activated shield. It was easy to find. Luli didn't move around at the foot of the mountain. He was afraid that the Fu family had already come in. If he went to the flame volcano, he would be walking into a trap. He circled the mountain a few times and examined it for a full hour before he decided to take the risk and give it a try. He couldn't stay in the Yuan Yi world forever. He had to go out sooner or later. He had to go back to the divinity, not to mention the promise he made with Fairy Tianyun. He put on the bronze mask to look like an average young man. He put on his armor and carried a huge sword on his back. Then he swaggered toward the mountain. Outside the city, Luli looked around. He didn't see anything strange in the city. He didn't sense any powerful warriors were lying in ambush. He walked toward the city gate. "It's a human. Open the gate." The guards at the gate shouted when they saw Luli coming. Then the gate was opened and the shield was cracked open. Luli used the trace of doubt to check and then walked in. "Move!" The portal was at the plaza in the city. Luli didn't think too much. He dashed toward the portal using the happy steps. None of the guards or powerful warriors in the city stopped him. He dashed into the portal. Splash! The next second, he felt he was in the sea. As soon as he came out, he used psychic power to check. He was overjoyed to find himself in the sea. Without thinking too much, he dashed toward the sea with the happy steps. "I am out." Luli burst out from the sea and smelled the fresh air. He grinned. He had gained a lot this time. Not only did he get the marrow, but he also got 3 Xianwu fruits, 2 of them. He had promised young Master Qin, and he would not break his promise. Swish! All of a sudden, there came a noise from the distance. Luli looked up and saw a battleship coming. Several psychic powers locked onto him. Chapter 2020. Luli was not in a hurry to leave. He stood in the sea. There were more than 100 warriors on the ship, but the most powerful one he sensed was only at the peak of the second tribulation. He was not afraid of such warriors. Therefore, he wanted to wait and see before making a decision. Whoosh! The battleship whooshed over and stopped 3 miles away from Luli. Dozens of warriors flew down from the iron ship and surrounded Luli. A leader at the peak of the second tribulation looked at Luli and asked coldly, "Who are you? Why are you in this area?" Luli was not wearing the mask given by young Master Qin, so he could not hide his energy. He appeared to be a warrior at the first tribulation. This leader did not treat Luli as someone from the Yuan Yi world. Those that went in were all heaven gods of the third tribulation. Luli thought of something. He cupped his fists and said, "Lord, I am an independent cultivator from the Tieshi city. I am on my way to the Furious Flames Island to find my friends and family." The second tribulation god frowned and said, "This area is blocked. Don't you know? It is blocked. The Fu family is fast." Luli's heart was weighed down, but he did not panic. He cupped his fists and said, "I have been cultivating, so I don't know what is going on outside. Lord, why is this area blocked?" "You don't know?" The leader snorted and scolded. "You are lying. You are from the Tieshi city, and you don't know the reason? You must be a spy. Capture him." Whoosh! As soon as the leader finished his words, 3 second tribulation god realm warriors flew over. They aimed their weapons at Luli. They would not mind killing Luli if he made any strange moves. Luli sighed. as the three came. He didn't want to start a killing spree, but he had no other choice. Since the Fu family wanted to capture him, he had to kill all of them and run away at once. "Go to hell," he shouted. Worms of the void flew out from his body. At the same time, Luli himself dashed forward, aiming at the leader at the peak of the second tribulation. What? Many were stunned to see so many worms of the void flying out. That leader came to his senses quickly. He yelled in fear, "It is the Hell Killer. Move!" Bang! Before he could finish his words, Luli had approached him and killed him with one punch. The dark golden worms of the void were so fast that Luli had sent out thousands of them. The dozens of people in the surroundings were all several thousand feet away. This distance was crossed in an instant, and the dark golden void worm entered his body. The result could be imagined. One warrior after another fell to the ground. While Luli was killing the second tribulation leader, dozens of warriors were killed by the worms of void almost at the same time. Whoosh, 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 there were still a few dozen people inside the iron ship. They were all alarmed and rushed out of the ship. However, what they saw was many bodies falling down and Luli coming with thousands of worms of the void. Hell, killing God. Many people trembled in fear. Their first thought wasn't to immediately release the signal to inform the nearby army, but rather, fear and doubt appeared in their minds. The Hell's killing God was too infamous. Previously, he had killed countless people in the Fu family's territory. After that, he went to the Black Flame Hall's territory and fell into the Een Fiend's sinkhole. Wasn't the Grim Reaper killed by the Black Flame Hall? This was what everybody was confused about. Even Black Flame Palace had hung the corpse of the Hell-killing god above Black Hot City. Could it be that this person just happened to have the same realm and methods as the Hell-killing god? Whoosh! Luli dashed over in an instant and started another round of killing. The dozens of warriors were doomed after the worms of the void arrived. None of them could escape, and they didn't have the time to release the signal. Luli spared one warrior and killed the others. The one Luli spared was clearly a coward. His legs were trembling in fear. Luli pinched the warrior's neck and said coldly, "Are you from the Fu family or the Black Flame Hall?" The warrior shivered and replied, Fu family. Lord, please spare my life. I am not from the Fu family. They forced me to come here to search. It's up to you whether you can live or not. Luli continued, "How many warriors of the Fu family are here, and how much of the sea area is sealed off? Which way can we get out of the seal?" The warrior was terrified. If he were to tell Luli all this, he would not be able to live on in the future. The whole team was dead, and he was the only survivor. The Fu family would surely interrogate him. Luli could tell that the warrior was struggling. He said coldly, "If you don't tell me, you will die now. If you tell me, I will put you into my interspatial artifact. When you're out of this area, I will let you go. I, the Hell-killing god, am a man of my words." "Thank you, Lord." The warrior was relieved. As long as he could get out of this area, he could find a place to hide his identity and live a good life. He said at once, "The Fu family has mobilized over 10,000 warriors and sealed off an area with a radius of 100,000 miles. There are scouts everywhere at the bottom of the sea and battleships above. The Fu family has sent a senior warrior who is at the peak of the third tribulation. The family master and some patriarchs are here as well. The Bu family has sent many warriors as well. Many powerful warriors of different families are here. They are all in the Iron Sun City. Lord, if you want to get out of the encirclement as soon as possible, you'd better go to the west. This place is the closest to the encirclement, only 25,000 miles away." 25,000 miles? Luli nodded. 25,000 miles was too short for him. If nobody was there to stop him, he could make in the time for one incense stick to burn with his dragon wings and happy steps. Okay. Luli threw the warrior into the mountain. He didn't care about the interspatial rings nearby. He took out his 7-star saber and dashed to the west with happy steps. 25,000 miles was too short. He wanted to break out of the encirclement directly. Nobody could catch up with him apart from the warrior at the peak of the third tribulation, given his speed. The warrior at the peak of the third tribulation must be in the city. By the time Luli got the message, he would be out of the encirclement. Whoosh, Luli flew in a straight line, creating a noise in the air. In the time for a few breaths, he had covered thousands of miles, which alerted the battleships nearby. Swish, a battleship came from the front left. Many people checked with psychic power. Luli didn't even look at it. He swung his saber and hacked at the battleship. A ray of light shot out. The ray of light made several turns in the air and hacked at the battleship. Many people on the battleship tried to fly out, but they were restrained by the force in heaven and earth. They could not move. Boom! The ray of sword light landed on the battleship and cut it in half. More than a dozen warriors on the ship were killed, and the others were smashed away. Hell Killer. It is the Hell Killer. He is the only one who can attack in such a way. How is the Hell Killer still alive? Send out the alarm and inform the people nearby. A series of shouts rang out, followed by a series of signal flares exploding high up in the sky, alarming everyone within a radius of tens of thousands of miles. Boom, boom, boom. From the distance, many signal detonators were sent up. Many battleships were coming over. Many scouts in the sea were alerted as well. Many messages were sent out to the Iron Sun City like snowflakes. Those who stand in my way will die. Luli released his dragon roar skill. His roar was like the roar of a lion. People within a radius of thousands of miles felt their eardrums hurt. Chapter 2021. The god of massacre from hell had shown up and was trying to break out of the encirclement. He had killed hundreds. The news quickly spread, startling all the cultivators and cities in this sea region. Many people were surprised and doubted the authenticity of the news at first. Wasn't the god of massacre from hell dead? Why would he suddenly appear in this area? Was the corpse of the Black Hot City fake? How could the Hall of Black Flame, one of the 36 forces, do something so shameful? Powerful warriors of the Fu family didn't care whether it was the god of massacre from hell or not. All of them were teleported to the west. The forefather of the Fu family came in person. The god of massacre from hell had killed many warriors of the Fu family. Now that he was found, the forefather of the Fu family would not miss the chance. Also, the appearance of the god of massacre in this area might have something to do with young Master Fu's death. It was possible that the god of massacre had sneaked into the Yuan Yi world and killed young Master Fu. The others that went in were from other families, and they wouldn't kill the divine son of the Fu family so impulsively. The Grand Master of the Hall of Black Flame didn't come. Instead, several patriarchs came. The patriarchs were dumbfounded when they heard the news. Back at the Pit of Haze, didn't many say that Luli was dead? How come there was a god of massacre from hell? The patriarchs could not sit still after the news was confirmed, and Lu Li's special move, the Ghost Cut of the Slayer, came back. It was a strange move. So far, only the god of massacre had it, which meant that the god of massacre was still alive. The patriarchs sent the news back to the Hall of Black Flame at once. At the same time, they went after Lu Li. Powerful warriors of the Bu family were teleported to the west as well. However, it would take time for them to teleport, and they could not teleport all at once. They had to teleport from one island to another. By the time they arrived at an island outside the blockade at the west, they received the news that Lu Li had killed his way out and killed more than 1,000 warriors. He had been on his way for almost an hour. Go after him. The forefather of the Fu family didn't waste any time. He opened the space portal and teleported to the west with a group of patriarchs, ready to intercept Lu Li. Powerful warriors of the Hall of Black Flame and the Bu family did the same. But they were teleported to the northwest and southwest. They each teleported to a place several tens of millions of miles away, trying to find Lu Li. At the same time, many warriors of the Fu family, the Bu family, and the Black Flame Hall were mobilized to the nearby, seized to search for Lu Li. The Grand Master of the Hall of Dark Flames had teleported over with some warriors. Lu Li had slapped his face so hard that the Grand Master of the Hall of Dark Flames was hopping mad. This time, the Black Flame Hall had been disgraced. If Lu Li were to escape this time, the Black Flame Hall would lose all its dignity and would never be able to hold its head up high again. The news spread in just half a day. The entire Stormy Sea region was in an uproar. All the cities were discussing this matter, and the news quickly spread to other places in the second heaven. The reason why it had spread so quickly was because Black Flame Hall had been slapped in the face too hard this time. As one of the 36 great factions, and one that was ranked in the top 10 at that, such a huge blunder had spread like wildfire, and everyone was happy to spread the news. The many people turned to the sea near the foo of the war. Near, wanted to see at the black of the family of the one. If they still couldn't kill the Grim Reaper this time, the Black Flame Hall would become the laughingstock of the entire second heaven. Once Luli got out of the encirclement, he was like a dragon returning to the sea. With a trace of Tao, his senses were strong. None of the scouts could find him at the bottom of the sea. After Luli got out of the encirclement, he was like a dragon returning to the ocean. With a trace of Tao, his senses were strong. None of the scouts could find him at the bottom of the ocean. 3 days. For 3 days, the forces mobilized many people, but found no clue. All the powerful warriors of the families were sent out to search in person, but Luli was nowhere to be found. After all, the sea was vast, and Luli was fast. Unless the powerful warriors of the families were lucky enough to run into Luli, it would be impossible for them to find Luli. On the 4th day, several teams came out from the Yuan Yi world with a piece of news. The Sea of Storm was boiling again. Young Master Fu was killed by the god of hell, and he might have taken 5 black tortoise fruits. Another god's son was killed. The god of hell was going to go against nature. More importantly, the black tortoise fruit tempted many people. 30,000 years of life was unheard of at the second heaven. It was rare, even at the third heaven. It was hard to come by. Whether the news was true or not, it had caught the attention of many old warriors. Some of them even took actions, trying to find Lu Li and kill him. Nobody wanted to die. Nobody wanted to live for another tens of thousands of years. Those old warriors were at the peak of the third tribulation. Tens of thousands of years could help them reach the fourth tribulation realm. Once they did, they could live for another hundreds of thousands of years. The existence of the old warriors was crucial to every family. The longer their ancestors could live, the longer they could protect the family and ensure the safety of the family, making the family more powerful. That being said, it was difficult to find Lu Li in a short time, even though many powerful warriors were on the move. The Sea of Storm was vast, and Lu Li had the mask that could change his looks. Also, the Qin family had the Xian tortoise's shell to hide his qi and energy. It was hard to find him. 5 days later, a piece of news came out from a small city. The Sea of Storm was in an uproar. Lu Li left a message here and had someone spread it out. He did have the Xian Wu fruit, but it was not with him. He had put it in an absolutely safe place. If he died, all the Xian Wu fruits would be destroyed. It was easy to get the Xian Wu fruit. Kill the master of the Black Flame Hall and the family master of the Fu family. He would give 1 Xian Wu fruit to each of them. He would not go back on his word. Lu Li was offering a reward for the heads of the master of the Black Flame Hall and the Fu family master. This was unprecedented. It was not a big deal for a man to declare war against 2 big forces. What was more, he was offering a reward for the leaders of the 2 forces. The most important thing was that the treasures he offered were attractive enough. There were some powerful rogue cultivators in the Sea of Storm. There were quite a number of them in the second heaven. These rogue cultivators had no scruples because they had no families to back them up. Many of them were alone. Many of them might be reaching the end of their lives. It was possible that they would take the risk for the Xianwu fruit. The news spread faster than the previous one. It spread to the entire second heaven at a horrifying speed. For a moment, all the warriors of the Fu family and the Black Flame Hall were filled with anger and fear. If there really was a powerful rogue cultivator assassinating the 2 family masters for the Xianwu fruit, then it would be devastating for the 2 forces. It was not only the safety of the family masters, but also the safety of the 2 forces. The 2 forces occupied a large piece of land. They were 2 juicy pieces of meat. If some powerful rogue cultivator were to make a move against them, then more people and forces would do the same to them. When the wall was down, everyone would give it a shove. By then, the 2 forces would be doomed eternally. The Black Flame Hall quickly came up with a response. They made an announcement that they would offer a pseudo-holy weapon to buy the life of the Hell Bloodlust god. As long as the Hell Bloodlust god was killed, the Black Flame Hall would offer a pseudo-holy weapon. The Fu family is willing to offer a page of the ancient scripture to buy the life of the Hell Bloodlust god. Chapter 2022. This guy is smart. From a side hall at the peak of Mount Cloud came a girl's voice. Patriarch nodded and said, "Fake holy weapons and a page of scripture are precious, but they don't mean much to those old farts. They are about to die. What do they need them for?" But the black tortoise fruit is different. This time, the Black Flame Hall and the Fu family are in trouble. It won't be difficult, but there will definitely be some trouble. Fairy Tian Yun said, "Do not underestimate any force. They have hidden cards. A force that can become a top force and survive for hundreds of thousands of years must have some tricks up their sleeves. If they could be destroyed by a few rogue cultivators, how could they survive until now?" "That's true." Patriarch Chun agreed after some thoughts. He asked, "Fairy, Luli should be on his way back to the Omen Island, right? Do you need me to go and meet him?" "Ha." Fairy Tian Yun replied with a smile. "This guy can live a good life under the pursuit of several families, and he can go to the Yuan Yi world to get the black tortoise fruit. Do you think he's weaker than you?" Yin Fengming chased him into the pit of haze. Yin Fengming died, but he came out alive. His abilities should be stronger than yours. Are you going to meet him, or are you going to drag him down? Patriarch Chen was moved. He thought about it and realized it was true. Soon he sighed. In his memory, Lu Li was just a small warrior, one that was almost killed by Uncle Shan of the Heaven Immortal Mountain. How could Lu Li grow so fast in such a short period of time? Well, the divine princes of the Yin family and the Fu family all have secret treasures, and their abilities are similar to mine. If Lu Li can kill them, he must be stronger than me. Patriarch Chen exclaimed. Then he said with joy, "When Lu Li comes back, it will be easy to kill Yun Kaiwe in the fight of geniuses. Let's wait until he comes back." Fairy Tianyin didn't say much, and her tone was calm. "Right?" Patriarch Chun thought of something and said, "When Lu Li comes back, should we ask him for a black tortoise fruit? Give it to the Asmodean?" "No need," Fairy Tianyin replied. "The great demon king has better spiritual herbs. Her lifespan is not up yet, so she doesn't need these. You may leave. Report to me if there's any news." "Yes." Elder Chen cupped his hands and bowed, but a trace of doubt surfaced in his mind. The great demon king had lived for hundreds of thousands of years, yet her lifespan was still not up. Could he have already broken through to the fourth tribulation? That should be it. Recalling how the great demon monarch had wiped out so many major factions and killed so many peak third tribulation experts, he should have long broken through to the fourth tribulation realm. Lu Li didn't go back to the Omen Island or stay at the storm area. He went all the way to the south. After more than half a month, he arrived at the south of the storm area. With a trace of the Great Tao, as long as he didn't encounter a third tribulation powerhouse, ordinary scouts wouldn't be able to find him. In addition, he had the black tortoise's shell, so no one could lock onto his aura. In the vast sea, it was too difficult to find him. He found the Qin family's branch in a city and left 2 black tortoise fruits for the Qin family. He went all the way to the south and found a deserted island. Under the island, he dug out an undersea cave and built many formations. He also asked Blood Fairy to build some ruins. He planned to cultivate here for 2 months. There were still 5 or 6 months to go until the appointed time with Fairy Tianyin. It would only take him 2 months to go back by teleportation. Therefore, he wanted to cultivate and lie low for 2 months. He had a mask, but someone might have seen it. If he went to the city constantly, he would be easily found out. The outside world was full of people looking for him. He wanted to wait for 2 months until the storm died down. Many inhibition formations were built nearby. Blood Fairy built the apatheosized dojo in the cave, and he built a one-way teleportation formation in the cave. There was also a formation of illusion nearby. Now that everything was in place, he could cultivate happily. He was not cultivating divine energy or bones. He was going to consume the spirit and marrow. That was one of the 10 treasures of body refinement. He wanted to consume some to further strengthen his body. The stronger his body was, the stronger he would be, the faster he would be, and the stronger his defense would be. Since he had treasures, he would not let them go to waste. He got the method to consume the spirit and marrow from the Qin family. It was not complicated. Luli went into the mountain. There were several more people in the other halls. The girl and the old man that he took away from the Fu family island were not released. He wanted to settle them down at the cloudy mountain so that they could live a more comfortable life. As soon as he entered the hall, he smelled the scent of elk. The scent of the spirit and marrow was unique and comfortable. Luli felt he was intoxicated when he went in. He sat up at once and used divine energy to absorb the effect in the air to avoid wasting it. As the effect entered his body, his pores were expanding. He felt very comfortable. After cultivating for a couple of hours, Luli took out a bottle of spirit and did not consume it right away. Instead, he took out a herb and consumed it. The herb was of fire properties, and the spirit and marrow were of extreme yin. Consuming the spirit and marrow directly could harm the internal organs. After consuming the herb of fire properties, Luli felt his body had become a stove. He consumed half a bottle of spirit, and as soon as it entered his body, Luli felt he was frozen and a surge of coldness spread across his body. When Luli collected the spirit and marrow, he didn't touch it with his hands. This was the first time he touched the spirit, and he realized how powerful it was. He was trembling and felt he was about to be frozen. Crack, 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 his teeth were chattering. He shouted and forced divine energy to disperse the spirit and let the spirit and marrow be absorbed by his 720 acupoints. When the spirit and marrow were spreading, Luli noticed that his bones were glowing. They were absorbing the spirit and marrow on their own. He thought about it and used the bone refinement skill to let the spirit and marrow go to his bones so that they could absorb as much as they wanted. It took Luli 2 hours to consume half a bottle of spirit, and his body was back to normal. He was sure that all the spirit and marrow were absorbed by his acupoints and bones. Then, he released psychic power to check his body. Good. After examining it, he was overjoyed. His bones had turned slightly yellow. Half a bottle of spirit and marrow was improving faster than when he was cultivating his bones for several months. This was because half of the spirit and marrow were absorbed by his acupoints. If all the spirit and marrow were absorbed by his bones, then his progress in the bone refinement skill would be faster. Cultivate my bones with all my strength. Bones were the support of the body. When the bones were strong, so would the body. If he could turn all his bones golden, he might not be far away from the completion of the immortal body. He had 1 square of spirit, and when he consumed all of it, his bones could evolve for at least 2 times and turn black. How powerful would his body be by then? Not even he could imagine it. The Fu family, the Black Flame Hall. You better not fall so easily, Luli murmured. When his immortal body was completed, it would be time for him to defeat the Fu family and the Black Flame Hall. By then, he could go back to the divinity openly. Chapter 2023. 2 months passed by quickly. The Black Flame Hall, the Fu family, and the Bu family had mobilized more than 100,000 warriors, including at least 50 powerful warriors of the Third Tribulation. But they couldn't find any trace of Luli. Their main search area was the Storm region. How could they find Luli now that he had left? After 2 months, the scouts were slacking off. After all, if they couldn't find Luli for 2 months, they might not find him in 2 years. When Luli attacked the Fu family and the Bu family mobilized so many warriors, but they still couldn't find him. It meant that Luli was very good at hiding. Many patriarchs had given up, let alone the average scouts. The 3 forces couldn't find Luli, but 2 major events happened at the Storm region. Both the master of the Black Flame Hall and the Fu family patriarch were assassinated by 2 mysterious, powerful warriors. Luckily, they were defeated in the end. The two families were scared. If both of their leaders were dead, then the two forces would be in chaos and their prestige would be damaged. More importantly, many independent cultivators and families of different sizes would join hands to attack them. By then, the two forces would be annihilated and consigned to eternal damnation. The master of the Black Flame Hall and the Fu family patriarch left at once. They went back to the Black Flame Hall and the Fu family respectively. They would be much safer in their territories with strong resources. If it were just one or two powerful independent cultivators, it would be harder to kill them. After the two assassinations, the families were in a state of panic. They didn't dare to put more effort into their search. They felt there were arrows coming from all sides, and they were afraid that someone was targeting them. But the scouts didn't leave. If they didn't kill Lu Li, the two families wouldn't be able to clean up the mess. The Black Flame Hall, in particular, was shamed. They could hear people talking about the Black Flame Hall and laughing at them everywhere they went. They couldn't lift their heads. Once, they were proud to be from the Black Flame Hall. Now, they felt it was a disgrace to be in the Black Flame Hall. The dignity of a superforce was very important. Once it was trampled on, everyone in the Black Flame Hall would be alienated. In the long run, the superforce would collapse. However, they didn't dare to leave without orders from above. They had to search around and wander around in embarrassment. Lu Li came out from cultivation today. He had consumed more than 200 bottles of divine quintessence. He had obtained a square of divine quintessence, but he had only used 1/5 of it. He did not dare to refine the spirit marrow too quickly, for fear that his body would not be able to withstand it. Every time, he refined half a bottle at a time. 2 months of cultivation had yielded remarkable results. Lu Li could clearly feel that his body was getting stronger. He felt that after refining the divine quintessence, his body should have at least doubled in strength. The only thing that made him feel a little regretful was his bones. After refining so much spirit marrow, his bones were still dark yellow. There was no sign of them turning black. This bone refining technique was too difficult. Originally, he thought that after refining so much spirit marrow, his bones would at least turn black, right? However, he didn't expect that it would only turn slightly dark yellow. At this rate, Lu Li believed that the bones would only turn black after all the marrow was consumed. Waiting for the black bone to turn golden was 100 times more difficult than the first level. How many heavenly materials and earthly treasures would it take? The path of the supreme divine physique is indeed difficult. No wonder there are so few people who have achieved the great accomplishment of the third heaven supreme divine physique. Lu Li sighed. Since the ancient times, very few could achieve the great accomplishment of the immortal body. If it were easy, many families could train one. Treasures like the spirit marrow were rare, but a family at the third heaven should be able to get it. Why couldn't they train a supreme divine physique? There must be a reason. Whatever. Lu Li didn't dwell on it. Whether or not he could achieve the great accomplishment of the immortal body was something to be considered later. Right now, he just wanted to be stronger so that he could defeat the Fu family and the Hall of Black Flame. Change back. Lu Li got up and left. Before he left, he destroyed the cave. There were some traces here. If someone could find it, they could infer something. After some thoughts, Lu Li decided not to put on the mask but to show his real appearance. He had never seen this average-looking scout before. Only Yin Hong and a few warriors of the Omen Island had. Lu Li planned to teleport to the Heaven Music City and buy some high-level masks. In this way, it would be safer for him to teleport away. The Heaven Music City was not far away from here. Lu Li arrived after teleporting for dozens of times. He went directly to the auction house and found Chief Steward Lu. Chief Steward Lu didn't know Lu Li's real identity. According to the rules of the auction house, he wouldn't go out of his way to find out. That being said, he knew Lu Li was a rich man, so he welcomed Lu Li in with enthusiasm. "Young master, what are you going to buy or sell this time?" Lu Li still had several million divine origin gold left from last time. This time, he killed some warriors and earned 2 million divine origin gold. Therefore, he didn't want to sell anything. He said, "I want to buy 1 or 2 human skin masks, the kind that even warriors at the peak of the third tribulation realm can't see through. Do you have any? Yes. Chief Steward Lu smiled and said, there are too many of them. Our Palace of Heaven Music's own tattooist can do it. Young master, you're an honored guest. I will not make an offer. 3 million divine origin for one. Well, the price is reasonable. Luli nodded. Young Master Qin said it was only several million divine origin gold each. Chief Steward Lu didn't make an offer. But young master, Chief Steward Lu thought about it and said, after a few times, the mask will be useless. I recommend you to buy a secret skill. It is an ancient skill that can help you change your appearance. When you master it, nobody can see through you except for warriors with a strong soul of the third tribulation realm. Oh, there's such a skill? Luli was surprised. Then he said with a bitter smile, it must be expensive, right? Of course. Chief Steward Lu nodded and said, it is one of the best skills of the second heaven. Of course, many powerful warriors of major forces have cultivated similar skills as well. Therefore, it is not that rare. Young master, you are our honored guest. If you want, I can give you a 30% discount. You only need to pay 30 million divine origin gold, and you can learn it. 30 million? Luli gasped. Steward Lu really had the guts to make an offer. This kind of skill could be copied and sold constantly. If he could sell it for 30 million each time, he could sell it for 100 times, and it would be 3 billion. Seeing Lu Li's reaction, Chief Steward Lu explained with a smile, this is the price set by our master. Without this price, I would rather not sell it. Okay, I will buy it. Luli made up his mind. He decided to buy the ancient skill. With this skill, he could change his identity at any time. It would be harder for the Black Flame Hall and the Fu family to hunt him down. He didn't have that much divine origin gold, but he had the elixirs. Any one of them was worth tens of millions. It was not that he couldn't afford 30 million. He waved his hand and said, go and find an appraiser. I will sell my treasures to you and convert them into divine origin gold. Okay. Chapter 2024. Two appraisers were here. Luli began to think about what kind of elixir to take out. After a moment, he took out a black lotus. It was an elixir with dark properties that he collected in the Palace of Immortals. For those that cultivated the law of darkness, it was of little value to him. He might as well sell it. Buzzing, he threw a jade box over and said casually, there's an elixir in there. Don't let it run away. Elixir? Steward Lu and the two appraisers were slightly moved. Every divine herb of heaven and earth could only be found by luck and not by searching for it. It was priceless. Steward Lu immediately activated the restriction, and the appraisers carefully opened the jade box. Whoosh! A ray of black light flew out, and a strong smell of elixir spread out. The appraisers grabbed the ray of black light, and the three of them took a closer look. The appraiser took out another jade box and put it in. He said with certainty, this is the Black Lotus, a treasure for cultivating gloom, fundamental meaning. It is worth at least 50 million divine origin gold. Then we will do it at 60 million divine origin gold. Steward Lu nodded and asked Luli, what do you think, young master? Okay, Luli said with satisfaction. I don't want the masks. Buy me pellets for the rest of the 30 million divine origin gold to cultivate my body, soul, and divine energy. I want the best ones. Yes. Steward Lu thought about it and said, recently, we have a batch of marrow purification pellets, advanced ones for body refinement. We were going to sell them at the auction. If you want them, I will give you the lowest price. For the soul, we have the soul pellet, one of the best ones. For divine energy, we have the consolidating pellet, the best one. Marrow purification pellet, soul pellet, consolidating pellet? Give me one of each. Luli was not familiar with the pellets, so he didn't bother to ask. He would know after he consumed the pellets. Steward Lu sent someone to fetch the pellets. Soon, he came back with 3 pellets. Luli consumed them one by one and was satisfied after checking them. Of course, these pellets were different from elixirs, but they were quite effective. After asking about the price, Luli exchanged the remaining 30 million divine origin gold into 3 types of pellets. The pellets were enough for him to cultivate for 4 to 5 years. He could take them for fun. That ancient secret technique was obtained. It was called the disguised divine technique. Luli sat on the spot to study. He was afraid that something might go wrong with the skill that cost 30 million divine origin metal. After half a day, Luli was sure that the skill was real, even though he didn't completely understand it. He had figured out the principles. It was easy for a person to change their appearance. After all, they were all powerful immortals. Luli once learned a skill that could change his muscles and make him taller and stronger. He could become a completely different person. It was hard for a person to change their life source aura. For example, if he changed his appearance, Yanhong's spiritual will could easily lock onto his life source aura. In addition, changing one's appearance would easily leave behind traces. Powerful martial artists could use their divine sense to see through one's origin. No matter how one changed their appearance, it would be useless. The core of disguise skill was to change the source of life. For example, Luli could disguise himself as a monster or some other race. In this way, nobody would be able to recognize him. All right, thank you, Steward Lu. See you again. Luli put away the skill and strode out. Steward Lu walked Luli to the door and threw him a meaningful look. An appraiser walked over and whispered to Steward Lu's ear, "Steward Lu, this man looks like the one who has been in the limelight recently." "Shut up," Steward Lu said coldly. "The Palace of Heaven Music is only doing business. We will never get involved in the disputes between forces. Also, we cannot reveal the identity of our clients or make any guesses. Do you understand?" "Yes." The appraiser cupped his hands and retreated. Steward Lu then muttered to himself, "Young and promising. He's still so young. If he's given a few more decades, I'm afraid the entire second heaven will be turned upside down by him." Luli left the Heaven Music City and teleported for more than a dozen times. Then he went out to sea. He traveled tens of millions of miles in the ocean, found a deserted island, and dug a hole in the ground. Safety first. He was still a long way from the Omen Island. Yanhong knew that Luli would go back to the Omen Island. There might be many scouts on the way. Therefore, it would be safer for Luli to cultivate the disguise skill before teleporting back. There were still 3 months to go before the appointed time with Fairy Tianyun. Teleportation was enough. Luli planned to spend half a month to cultivate the disguise skill. The skill was not difficult to learn. Luli had learned similar skills before, but at a much lower level. He had some foundation so he could learn it quickly. In 10 days, he came out from cultivation. Buzzing, Luli's body glowed in white. His skin, flesh, and bones began to change. His face became evil and his chi and energy became gloomy. His temperament had changed. Luli took out a mirror and observed for a while. He was satisfied. He had become a cold and evil young man. Uncle Li wouldn't be able to recognize him even if he stood in front of him. "Let's go." Luli left the cave and teleported back to a nearby city. He didn't teleport to the Omen Island, but to the Heaven Music City. At the Heaven Music City, he went to the auction house and told Steward Lu that he wanted to make a deal. A maid showed Luli to a side chamber. Steward Lu stood up, looked around, cupped his fists, and said, "Greetings, young master. How can I help you?" "Steward Lu." Luli changed his voice and said in a gloomy tone, "Back then, you plotted against me. Today, I am here to take your life." Luli's killing intent became more intense. Steward Lu's expressions changed. A spear appeared in his hand as he shouted, "Who are you?" "This is the Heaven Music City. I advise you not to act recklessly." Ha ha ha. Luli had been using the trace of Tao to sense that Steward Lu was not faking it. Steward Lu was a 3 tribulation heaven god, and they had just met not long ago. Yet, he couldn't recognize Luli. The disguise skill must be good. Luli laughed, cupped his fists, and said in his original voice, "Steward Lu, I'm just joking with you. Please don't take it to heart." As soon as Luli returned to his original voice, Steward Lu recognized him immediately. Steward Lu forced a smile and said, "Young master, You have gone too far. This is the Heaven Music City. Next time, don't joke like this. Ha. Luli grinned and said, I just wanted to try the disguise skill. Please forgive me, Steward Lu. It's only been a few days since I've mastered the divine art. Congratulations, Steward Lu said with admiration. Young master, you are talented. You will have a promising future. Thank you for your kind words. See you again. Luli cupped his fists and said goodbye. This time, Luli didn't have any concerns. He teleported again and again. Every time he teleported for dozens of times, he would change his appearance. Even if someone were to track him down, they wouldn't be able to find him. As he had expected, it was a safe journey. Luli teleported for more than 100 times without being followed. He rested for half a day before he resumed teleporting. Chapter 2025. It had been more than 3 months. The Fu family and the Black Flame Hall had almost given up, but Yin Hong did not. Yin Hong came to the Omen Island with a group of people. Yin Hong believed that Luli was going back to the Omen Island because that was the only place where he could be absolutely safe. What was more, Luli was close to Fairy Tianyan. Luli had been away for 2 years, and it was time for him to come back. With 2 patriarchs and more than 1,000 scouts, Luli hid outside the Omen Island. Instead of searching around aimlessly, he might as well wait outside the Omen Island. There was a teleportation formation in the Omen Island, but it could only send people out, not in. There might be some teleportation formations that average warriors were not allowed to activate. There was a teleportation formation to the Omen Island, but average warriors were not allowed to use it. Therefore, to enter the Omen Island, one must teleport nearby and then fly in. This time, Luli teleported to the Boundless Island and then teleported 2 more times before he arrived at the island closest to the Omen Island. He was not in a hurry to go to the Omen Island. Instead, he rested for half a day to recover some energy. Let's go. He left the city and looked toward the Omen Island. He was a bit excited, as if he was a wanderer coming home. Mount Cloud was the only place that gave him a sense of security and belonging at the second heaven. He turned into a middle-aged man, strong and strong. His origin of life had changed as well. He swaggered toward the Omen Island. He was so close to the Omen Island that nobody could stop him unless there were warriors at the peak of the 3rd tribulation of the Fu family or the Black Flame Hall. He was less than half a day away from the Omen Island. If he flew at full speed, it would take him 2 hours. He didn't release his wings. He just flew close to the surface of the sea. There are so many scouts hiding in the sea. Luli used the trace of Tao to sense the situation in the sea. He frowned. Which force were the scouts from? Were they from the Black Flame Hall? Luli put his guard up and kept on flying. He would be safe once he reached the Omen Island. It would be fine if nobody stopped him. But if anyone did, he would kill them without mercy. Some of the scouts were from the Black Flame Hall, and some were from other forces. The other forces ignored Luli, but those from the Hall of Black Flame were confused. Luli's appearance was different from before. He was still a primordial god of 1 tribulation. Should they intercept him and question him? The scouts did not act rashly and could only send a message to Yin Hong. Yin Hong and the other 2 were quite far away from this place. After thinking about it, Yin Hong decided to bring some people over to take a look. After all, a 1st tribulation heavenly god swaggered towards Heavenly Devil Island. This itself was very suspicious. The 3 of them were 4 hours away from Luli's location. They estimated Luli's direction and decided to intercept him directly outside the Omen Island. Luli had been flying fast. Nobody was stopping him, and he didn't bother to deal with the scouts. The closer he was to the Omen Island, the calmer he was. After refining the divine quintessence, his physical body had become much stronger, and his speed had also increased a little. At this moment, even if Yin Fengming were to revive, her speed would only be on par with his. Ordinary peak 3rd tribulation experts would not be able to catch up to him at all. After flying for half a day, a huge island appeared on the horizon. Luli let out a sigh of relief. He was finally back. He activated the unfettered steps to increase his speed and dashed towards the island. However, when he was thousands of miles away from the island, three powerful warriors suddenly spread out from the sea down below. Following that, waves rose up as three people dashed out of the water like three beasts. Luli had just used the unfettered steps to increase his speed. How could a warrior of the first tribulation be so fast in a head-on fight? Yin Hong and the other two who were hiding in the sea could tell at once that this man was Lu Li, the Grim Reaper. Yin Hong. Luli stopped in midair. A glint of coldness crept onto his face. Yin Hong was haunting him and waiting for him outside the Omen Island. Luli used the trace of Tao to make sure that there were no other powerful warriors nearby. Killing intent surged out from Luli. Three average, third tribulation heaven gods dared to ambush him. Did they really think he was Luli? Charge! The three came from three different directions. Luli didn't fight them head-on. After all, they had been famous for many years. Patriarchs of the Hall of Black Flames must have their own means. Buzzing, a pair of wings appeared on his back, and his body shot down towards the bottom of the sea, turning into a beam of light and shooting 10,000 miles into the sea. His speed was so fast that Yin Hong and the other two's attacks all missed. Bang! Luli traveled for thousands of miles and dashed out from the sea in the distance. He sneered and said, Yin Hong, how dare you come after me with just the three of you? Yin Hong and the other two were stunned. Luli's speed was horrifying. He dashed to the bottom of the sea and traveled thousands of miles. They could not catch up with him. As long as Luli escaped to the Omen Island, there would be nothing they could do. Whoosh! To their surprise, Luli dashed toward them. He was 1,000 miles away from them in an instant. Then he took out his 7-star saber and hacked at them. Swish! The Slayer's ghost cut's unique pattern lit up the sky, causing space to tremble. The ray of sword light stretched out for more than 2 miles in the sky, twisting and turning. The pressure in heaven and earth alarmed many scouts nearby. The Grim Reaper? There were several small islands nearby where scouts were lurking. They recognized the Slayer's ghost cut as soon as they saw it. Luli was quite famous at the second heaven. He had the black tortoise fruit. Therefore, the scouts recognized him at once and were taken aback. The Hall of Black Flames, Fu family and Bu family had mobilized 100,000 warriors to search for him in the Storm Sea. They did not expect that he could reach the Omen Island so easily. This man's stealth skills were unparalleled in the world. The Slayer's ghost cut was powerful, but it was not enough to deal with Yin Hong and the other three. Of course, Luli did not expect the Slayer's ghost cut to kill the three. After the move, Luli flapped his wings and took a detour to the left. When Yin Hong and the other two were about to attack him, Luli had come behind them and used the Slayer's ghost cut again. Buzzing at the same time, Luli released 5,000 dark golden worms of the void. Those were the main force. When the worms entered the three's bodies, it would be easy to kill them. If Luli wanted to run away, he could reach the Omen Island in the time for half an incense stick to burn. But he did not choose to leave. He wanted to finish Yin Hong and the other two. There were scouts nearby. Luli could not expose the relic. He had to rely on the worms of the void and the Slayer's ghost cut to wear them down. He was so fast that the three could not reach him. He was near the Omen Island, which was safe. He had all the time in the world to play with Yin Hong and the other two. Those worms, Yin Hong and the other two were taken aback when they saw the worms coming. Last time at the Island of Furious Flames, they suffered a great loss. Worms of the void entered their bodies, and they were almost killed by warriors of the third tribulation of some middle-level forces. Last time, Luli only released 300 worms of the void. This time, he released 5,000. If the 5,000 worms of the void entered their bodies, the three of them would have to stay here forever. Brother Hong, should we retreat? A patriarch was scared. They had attacked for many times, but could not even touch Lu Li's clothes. Staying here was pointless. Instead, it was more likely that they would lose their lives. We cannot retreat. We must kill this bastard at the cost of our lives. Chapter 2026. The Devil King was famous. She was one of the most powerful warriors at the second heaven. No other powerful warriors or forces dared to mess with her. If Luli went to the Omen Island and hid there for dozens of years, he would be able to defeat the entire Hall of Black Flame when he came out. Yin Hong was really scared. How many years had it been since Lu Li came up from the divinity? Back then, Lu Li was just a nobody. Even a warrior at the Second Tribulation could kill him, not to mention Yin Hong. After a few years at the Second Heaven, Lu Li's abilities had soared to the same level as Yin Hong. In some aspects, Lu Li was even stronger than Yin Hong. Yin Hong knew very well that Lu Li's progress was faster than the Chosen One at the Second Heaven. Those Chosen One had the best resources. What did Lu Li have? Apart from the small amount of resources given to him by Fairy Tianyin, he had nothing. He had to rely on himself. Who could guarantee that a man could not reach the peak of the Third Tribulation after dozens of years if he could improve so fast? Lu Li could already make the Fu family of the Hall of Black Flame restless. When he reached the peak of the Third Tribulation, the two forces would be destroyed by him. What was more, the Hall of Black Flame had been humiliated. If they could not find a way to kill Lu Li, the Hall of Black Flame would lose its prestige. People of the Hall of Black Flame were not on good terms. Hostile forces would take the chance to attack. One wrong move, and the Hall of Black Flame would be doomed eternally. Kill him. The other two patriarchs looked at each other. They understood what Yin Hong meant. They were ready to risk everything. Their families were in the Hall of Black Flame. If the Hall of Black Flame was destroyed, their families would be doomed. They were ready to die here to keep Lu Li here. After the three of them threw caution to the wind, their attacks became frantic. One of them took out a blood-stained halberd. As soon as the halberd was taken out, there was a surge of evil chi and energy. The halberd was glowing in red and black. It was emitting a horrifying atmosphere. Halberd of Evil King. Yin Hong and the other patriarch were shocked. They both knew the halberd. It was an evil weapon that once belonged to a demon lord. The weapon had been refined by the demon lord for many years. It had acquired evil properties. Average people could not control it, and it could backfire on them. If it was an ordinary battle, Yin Hong and this elder would definitely advise him not to use it, because if he was not careful, he would be devoured by the evil weapon or even controlled by it, falling into a state of madness and becoming a killing maniac. Lu Li was too fast. Without some special means, not only could the three of them not kill Lu Li, but they would also be worn down by him. Buzz, Yin Hong took out his battleship and made it smaller. This time, he planned to use up all the obsidian. As long as he could kill Lu Li, everything would be worth it. A sky full of void worms flew over. Although the three of them killed some, there were still many that entered their bodies. If it was before, they might have been very apprehensive, but now they didn't care. After the void worm entered their bodies, the three of them only mobilized some energy to temporarily suppress it. The three of them looked at each other and decided to work together to kill Lu Li as soon as possible. If they could not kill Lu Li, then the three of them would have to die. The battleship flew toward Lu Li. This time, Yin Hong did not attack. Instead, he generated hand shadows to shake the void. In this way, he could slow down Lu Li. Lu Li had just released the void worms. He thought that the three of them would find a way to avoid the void worms. However, they ignored it completely. Yin Hong dashed over and attacked the void around him, slowing Lu Li down. Swish, the other two rushed over and ignored the void worms as well. One of them had halberds of evil in his hand that were glowing in a dark and red color. Before they got close, Lu Li's heart was pounding. The other one had a broken bowl in his hand as well. There was a yellow airstream flowing around the bowl, emitting an ancient and powerful energy. Clearly, it was a piece of treasure. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The fight alerted the patrolling army at the Omen Island. An army flew over from the distance and landed on the beach. There were 400 to 500 of them. The leader was one of the 10 assassins under the Asmodean Lord's command, Demon of Axe. When Lu Li first came to the Omen Island, he was hunted down by Yin Hong as well. When Lu Li arrived at the Omen Island, Demon of Axe saved him. Back then, Demon of Axe had scared off Yin Hong in one move. Dragon wings, One tribulation divine immortal, bronze mask. Is he a killer from hell? Aren't those three patriarchs of a hall of black flames? Yes, that is Yin Hong, the one that was scared off by Lord's axe. Is the killer from hell at the Sea of Storms? I can't believe he has come to the Omen Island. It is said that he has the black tortoise fruit. Lord haha. Warriors at the Omen Island didn't know that the killer from hell was Lu Li. Someone whispered to Demon of Axe, asking him to kill Lu Li and take the black tortoise fruit. Demon of Axe looked the same as before. He had a mustache, carried an axe on his back, and looked lazy. He didn't intend to take action. Standing at the seaside, he waved his hand and said, "Shut up. Let's enjoy the show." Swish, the patriarch with the halberd made a move. He hacked at Lu Li from below. A stream of dark and yellow airstream appeared. Surprisingly, the airstream formed a demon that reached toward Lu Li with its fangs and claws. Moo! Lu Li flapped his dragon wings and flew up. Yin Hong was interfering with his speed. The battleship was fast. Lu Li must get away from the nearby area, or he would be killed by the three. Yin Hong was behind him. In front of him was a patriarch. Under the attack of the halberd, Yin Hong had to fly up. Though there were spatial ripples in the sky, Lu Li's physical body was strong. He believed that he could survive even if he was affected. Like a dragon, Lu Li flew up and dodged the attacks from the two patriarchs. Yin Hong flew up and went after Lu Li. Get down. Lu Li used the Slayer's Ghost Cut. A ray of sword light made several turns in the air and then hacked down. Yin Hong didn't fly the battleship away. Instead, he dashed forward to fend off the Slayer's Ghost Cut. Boom! The Slayer's Ghost Cut landed on Lu Li. Blood oozed out from Lu Li's mouth. He was thrown off the battleship. Lu Li controlled the battleship to catch up. At the same time, he kept on making handprints, which shattered the space around him and affected Lu Li's speed. Clearly, Lu Li's hand contained the fundamental principle of space. Everywhere the hand was at, space would be torn apart. Though it could not hurt people, it could affect Lu Li's speed. Whoosh! The two patriarchs rushed up from the left and the right. One of them spat out some blood on the broken bowl. The bowl began to glow. The patriarch waved his hand and shouted, "Contain him!" The bowl grew bigger and bigger. It flew up at a frightening speed. In an instant, it reached the sky and then fell down. It covered Lu Li up and pressed him down. This artifact, Lu Li felt his vision blacked out. He was covered up by the broken bowl. He was pressed down by a great force. Lu Li was taken aback. If he were pressed down by the bowl, he would be killed by Yin Hong and the other patriarchs. Swish! Lu Li released the Slayer's Ghost Cut several times, trying to break the bowl. However, the Slayer's Ghost Cut only made some muffled noises. The bowl was engraved with powerful runes. Lu Li could not crack it. Ha 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 good. Chapter 2027. Lu Li realized that he had underestimated the heroes in the world. Those who could become patriarchs of major forces must have their own unique means. Yin Hong and the other two had made a name for themselves a long time ago. Without special means, they would have been killed or stripped of their positions as patriarchs. Clearly, the bowl was a powerful artifact. Lu Li was covered in it, and the seal on it prevented him from flying out. The only way to get out was to break the bowl. Boom, boom, boom. Lu Li tried to punch. He was strong, and he wanted to see if he could break the bowl. The result was the same as the Slayer's Ghost Slash. The seal on the bowl was too strong for Lu Li to crack. Whoosh! That patriarch flew over and stood on top of the bowl. He tried his best to activate the bowl. It glowed brighter, and the dark and yellow air was thicker. The dark and yellow air is corroding my divine energy. Lu Li's heart skipped a beat. The bowl was indeed a piece of artifact. He made up his mind and punched at the bowl again. However, the bowl only made a muffled noise and continued to press down. Bastard, my artifact is a replica of a holy weapon. It is broken, but I have refined many seals on it. You want to break it? In your dreams. Just wait to be refined into pus and blood while you're alive. The Black Flame Hall elder's lips curled into a cruel smile as he shouted. The sound traveled in and echoed in the broken bowl. making Lu Li's eardrums hurt. What? The bowl fell upside down into the sea. It was as if a boulder had been smashed down. Waves of 10,000 feet were stirred up. There were scouts hiding at the bottom of the sea. They ran away in fright at once. Immortals were fighting, and such powerful artifacts were being used. They would be implicated if they stayed nearby. This bowl is impressive. The Slayer of Hell is going to be melted alive. Such a shame. The Slayer of Hell has black tortoise fruits. If we can get one, we can sell it at a high price. Not necessarily. The Slayer of Hell has said that the black tortoise fruit is not with him. The black tortoise fruits are not with him. If he dies, all the black tortoise fruits will be destroyed. The hundreds of soldiers of the Heavenly Devil Island were discussing among themselves. Everyone's divine senses were locked on that broken bowl in the distance. When they saw the three elders rushing down with the broken bowl, they all sighed with emotion. As far as they were concerned, Lu Li would inevitably fall into the trap of refinement and death now that he was trapped. Axe Demon stood there lazily and didn't say anything. It was as if he was simply watching the show. Soon, Lu Li was subdued. Soon, he was thousands of miles under the sea. The armies on the island could no longer detect him with psychic power. Many people wanted to go down and watch, but the Axe Demon didn't say anything. Nobody dared to move. It's almost done, right? On the other side, Lu Li realized that he was being suppressed at the bottom of the sea. He made up his mind. He was prepared to use godly metal. If he did not use godly metal, he would be refined by the broken bowl. Only by using godly metal would he be able to break open the large bowl and escape with his life, as well as kill one or two elders. At this moment, he was already 10,000 kilometers away from the bottom of the ocean, and the nearby scouts had probably all been frightened away. The possibility of him using the godly metal and being discovered was very low. Good chance, kill. Lu Li activated the trace of godly Tao and sensed. He found a patriarch above the broken bowl. Next to him was another patriarch with the evil king's halberd, glaring at him. Yin Hong was on a battleship nearby. Lu Li took out the godly metal and activated it at once. All the divine energy in his body was absorbed by the godly metal in an instant. A surge of horrifying chi and energy spread out. Luckily, the broken bowl covered most of the chi and energy. Otherwise, the might of the godly metal could be transmitted to thousands of miles away. Break! Lu Li swung the godly metal and smashed it at the bottom of the bowl. With a muffled sound, the bowl was torn apart. It could not even survive for a moment. The patriarchs above and nearby were stunned. While they were still in a daze, Lu Li dashed out and swung the godly metal at them. Bang! The patriarch, controlling the broken bowl, was smashed into a mist of blood. The godly metal flew out and landed on another patriarch's head. Crack! The patriarch was smashed away. His head was cracked, but he didn't turn into a mist of blood. Clearly, Lu Li had not poured enough divine energy into the godly metal. The godly metal was not as powerful as it was when it killed the first patriarch. Whoosh! Lu Li leaped out like a dragon or a tiger and dashed to the patriarch whose head was smashed. He swung his fists and powerful energy surged out from his 720 acupoints. He smashed the heads of the patriarchs, controlling the evil king halberd. This patriarch was seriously injured and his head was cracked. He didn't even have time to react when Lu Li came over. He was killed. Two voices of surprise came out. One was from Yin Hong on the battleship, and the other was from Axe Demon on the island. The scouts nearby were scared off. The other warriors on the island could not see what was going on down there. Therefore, only Yin Hong and Axe Demon could sense the chi and energy of Lu Li's godly metal. Yin Hong was astonished. Lu Li was being suppressed just now. Now he broke out of the bowl and killed two patriarchs at once. How could he believe what he was seeing? Axe Demon was not shocked because Lu Li killed two patriarchs, but because of the might of the godly metal. Granted, most of the might was covered by the broken bowl. Still, when the godly metal killed the first patriarch, the might still made Axe Demon tremble. Axe Demon was experienced and knowledgeable. Naturally, he knew that the godly metal was extraordinary. It's over. That was the second thought in Yin Hong's mind. Luli broke the bowl so easily and killed 2 patriarchs. Then it would be too easy for Lu Li to kill Yin Hong. Yin Hong was not as strong as the 2 patriarchs. His secret treasure was only for escaping. It could not kill Lu Li. Go! Yin Hong was scared. If he could kill Lu Li by risking his life, he would risk it. But now, he could not kill Lu Li even if he died. If so, why should he sacrifice himself for nothing? Yin Hong threw out some obsidian stones at once. The battleship rushed out of the sea in a blur. However, as soon as he got out of the sea, the space above his head suddenly trembled. An axe shadow hacked down with a shrill sound that could crack rocks and gold. Boom! Yin Hong was smashed into the sea. He was covered in blood. That battleship, on the other hand, was smashed into pieces. The waves surged up and formed a tsunami, shaking heaven and earth. Hundreds of warriors were shocked. They could not understand why Axe Demon would make a move. Yin Hong was outside the Omen Island. He didn't break any rules. Yin Hong was a patriarch of the Hall of Black Flame. If the news got out, the Hall of Black Flame would be enraged. Someone would have something to use against the Demon King. Move out. Axe Demon didn't show any signs of laziness. He ordered coldly, kill all the scouts within a radius of more than 30,000 miles. Leave none alive. If one escapes, then kill yourselves. Yes, my lord. Hundreds of warriors accepted the order and rushed to all directions. They understood the meaning of Axe Demon's order. Since they had made a move, then they could not leave any evidence behind. All the scouts nearby must be killed. Otherwise, if the news got out, it would bring unnecessary trouble to the Demon King. Under the sea, Lu Li noticed that Yin Hong had run away. He was about to go after him when he saw Yin Hong was smashed down and badly injured. Lu Li used psychic power to check. He was shocked to find that it was Axe Demon who made the move. Chapter 2028. Yin Hong was falling down quickly. Lu Li didn't have time to worry. He put away the evil king's halberd and the 2 interspatial rings. He took out some consolidating pellets, threw them into his mouth, and smashed at Yin Hong with his fists. Lu Li had no divine energy, but physical attacks didn't require divine energy. There was a strange energy in the 720 acupoints in his body that could make his physical attacks horrifying. Axe Demon, are you trying to start a war between the Omen Island and the Dark Flame Hall? Yin Hong was enraged that he was badly injured by Axe Demon in one move. He wouldn't say anything if Lu Li had killed him, but Axe Demon had broken the rules by attacking him before he entered the Omen Island. Lu Li had already made it. Yin Hong didn't have the time to curse. Flames rose up from his body and evaporated the seawater nearby. He looked at Lu Li with disheveled hair and shouted, Lu Li, if you want to die, let's die together. No, this lunatic is going to blow himself up. Lu Li was taken aback. A 3 tribulation heaven immortal was going to blow himself up. Strong as Lu Li was, he might not be able to survive it. Even if he could, he would be seriously injured. A cold snort rang out. Following that, a huge palm suddenly appeared above Yin Hong's head, grabbing towards him, instantly causing his body to explode. Yin Hong wanted to blow himself up, but he didn't have enough time. He was smashed into a mist of blood. Hiss, hiss, Lu Li gasped. Axe Demon's mien scared him. A 3 tribulation heaven immortal was about to blow himself up, but he was grabbed to death so easily. Was Axe Demon a 4th tribulation heaven immortal? I don't think so. He must be at the peak of the 3rd tribulation. Lu Li guessed. It was said that there were almost no 4th tribulation warriors at the 2nd heaven. Not even the Devil King was proven to be at the 4th tribulation. It would be impressive if the 10 assassins working for the Devil King were at the peak of the 3rd tribulation. How could they be at the 4th tribulation? Even so, Lu Li was frightened. He reminded himself not to underestimate heroes in the world. Although his battle prowess had soared in recent years, he had only cultivated for a short period of time. Many of the older generation experts had cultivated for hundreds of thousands of years and mastered countless powerful divine abilities. Although they could not increase their cultivation level, their battle prowess was extremely terrifying. He didn't have any divine power at the moment, so if he only relied on his dragon wings, he wouldn't be faster than Axe Demon. He gritted his teeth and put away Yin Hong's space ring before rushing out of the sea and landing in front of Axe Demon. Axe Demon's expression became lazy again. All the troops had been sent out by him, leaving him alone. He looked at Luli with a smile, but didn't do anything. Luli took off his mask, bowed with respect, and said, "Greetings, Axe Demon. Thank you for saving my life. I will never forget it." Axe Demon smiled and waved his hand. "You have a powerful corporeal body, so even if I self-destruct, I won't be able to kill you, so it doesn't count as saving your life. Your name is Luli, right? Does he live on Mount Skycloud?" Looking at the Axe Demon's smiling expression, Luli was reassured. It seemed that the Axe Demon did not intend to rob him of the godly iron, but simply wanted to help him. Or perhaps he hadn't sensed the might of the godly metal. Didn't he see anything special about the godly iron? Yes. Luli cupped his fists and said, "When I first came to the Omen Island, I was chased by Yin Hong. Back then, it was you, Axe Demon, that helped me defeat Yin Hong. I will never forget your kindness." "It's nothing, not worth mentioning." Axe Demon smiled and said, "I will take care of the scouts nearby. You can go back to Mount Skycloud with peace of mind. You have done a good job. Last time, the Demon King and I talked about you. He said you have made the Omen Island proud." Luli was surprised. He didn't know that the Demon King was still paying attention to him. He suddenly felt very honored. After all, the great Demon King was ranked first and second in the entire second heaven. "Thank you, Demon King." Luli bowed with respect. Looking at Axe Demon, he said, "Then I will go back to Mount Skycloud now. Lord Axe Demon, if there's anything wrong, please send someone to Mount Skycloud to let me know. I will risk my life to help you." "Off you go." Axe Demon waved his hand. After Luli flew away for more than 30 miles, Axe Demon suddenly said, "Do not use that piece of scrap iron of yours casually. This time, I will hide the news for you. Next time, you may not be so lucky. Once it is exposed, you'll be in big trouble." Luli trembled. He had thought that Axe Demon didn't know the secret of the divine iron. He didn't expect that Axe Demon knew everything. Instead of robbing him, Axe Demon helped him hide the news. Luli stopped, turned around, and bowed deeply before he left quickly. Axe Demon stood by the sea without moving. After Luli left, he murmured with a smile, "In less than 10 years, he has come from the first heaven and can kill the godson of a family at the second heaven. He can also get a holy weapon fragment. No wonder the Demon King thinks so highly of this guy. He has a promising future." The battle outside the Omen Island didn't cause too much of a stir. All the scouts nearby were killed by Axe Demon. Everyone who witnessed the battle was killed. Only some scouts left early and weren't killed, but they didn't know what was going on. They only knew that the Hellish Killer was fighting with the warriors of the Black Flame Hall. The news that the Hellish Killer was near the Omen Island spread out. After all, many people at the second heaven were paying attention to Luli and the black tortoise fruit. Naturally, news about Luli would spread fast. Warriors of the Black Flame Hall and the Fu family were still searching for Luli at the Stormsea area. They didn't expect that Luli had come to the Omen Island. Luli's hiding skills were admired by many. Soon, the news spread out that 3 patriarchs of the Black Flame Hall had died, and the Hellish Killer was nowhere to be found. It was highly possible that he had entered the Omen Island. This news caused an even bigger sensation. Nobody cared about the death of Yin Hong and the other 2. After all, the Hellish Killer could kill 2 gods' son, which meant that he was as powerful as a 3 tribulation heaven god. It was not surprising that he could kill Yin Hong and the other 2. The reason for the sensation was that Luli had entered the Omen Island. Once he was there, who dared to hunt him down? It hadn't been long since the major forces were wiped out. Who dared to mess around in the territory of the Demon King? The Fu family and the Black Flame Hall were disgraced. They had evacuated all their warriors. Now that Luli had entered the Omen Island, the Fu family and the Black Flame Hall wouldn't dare to mess around on the island. They had to send some warriors to guard outside the island to monitor the outside of the Omen Island and wait for Luli to come out. Of course, the two families also sent messengers to visit the Demon King, hoping that he would hand Luli over. The two families were willing to pay a huge price, but that was a story to be told later. After several days of traveling, Luli successfully arrived at the Cloud Mountain. When he stood at the foot of the Cloud Mountain and saw the familiar faces of Patriarch Shun, Lady Yi, and Uncle Li, he felt like he had come home. What he regretted was that he couldn't get Uncle Li's daughter and wife back. Even though he had gone to the territory of the Black Flame Hall, he didn't dare to act rashly for fear that he might implicate Uncle Li's wife and daughter. "Welcome back, our hero." Lady Yi was wearing a green robe, slim and graceful, like a lotus flower. She had a warm smile on her face, making Luli feel as if she was his wife waiting for him at the door. "My friend, it's good that you are back." Chapter 2029. Fairy Tian Yin was still receiving him in the side hall. She did not show her face, and only a voice was heard. It was indistinct, and no one knew where it came from. "Greetings, Fairy Tian Yin. I'm back as scheduled. It's good that you are back. You have done a good job. You have made the Omen Island proud. Even the Demon King has praised you." Fairy Tian Yun's words were gentle and soothing. It was the second time that Luli heard the Demon King complimenting him. He bowed and said, "Thank you, Demon King. Thank you for your concern. Well, you have improved your body." A gentle breeze came by and brushed past Luli. Fairy Tian Yun said, "Your footwork should be the unfettered steps, right? Where did you cultivate it? You have a pair of dragon wings? Are you faster than warriors at the peak of the third tribulation?" Luli didn't know how to answer about the happy steps. He gave a vague answer. "I learned it at the Palace of Demons. Dragon wings is a strange skill that I awakened with a drop of immortal beast blood. Well, my speed should be faster than warriors at the peak of the third tribulation." "Good." Fairy Tian Yun didn't pursue the matter. She said after a pause, "Stabilize yourself. The contest of geniuses will begin in 2 months. By then, you will kill Yun Kaiwe for me. Yun Kaiwe should be as powerful as someone at the middle stage of the third tribulation. Are you confident?" "Middle stage of the third tribulation?" Luli frowned. Yin Hong was at the middle stage of the third tribulation. To be honest, Luli didn't have much confidence. What was more, a disciple of a family like Yun Hong must have powerful treasures and cultivated strange skills. It would be too difficult to kill him, unless he used the relic iron. He thought about it and asked, "Fairy Tian Yun, where's the battlefield? Is it closed off so outsiders can't see it?" "Yes," Fairy Tian Yun said with certainty. "The fights at the beginning are open to the public. The fights at the later stages will be held in the small world. Apart from the two parties, nobody can go in. This is to prevent powerful warriors from other families from interfering. As long as you can make it to the top 100, you can go into the small world and nobody will be able to interfere." "Okay." Luli was full of confidence. He nodded and said, "Then it's okay. I am 70% sure that I can kill Yun Kaiwe." "That's great." Fairy Tian Yun was very pleased. She pondered for a moment and said, "To be safe, you should go through the second heavenly tribulation. That way, your battle prowess will increase a little. Go to Heavenly Devil City and take my token to the Devil Crossing platform to undergo your tribulation." "Tribulation?" Luli was taken aback. All these years, he had never thought about crossing the tribulation of soul because he had too many demons in his mind. He was afraid of dying from the tribulation of soul and mind. He only wanted to cultivate his corporeal body. If he could cultivate a supreme divine body, then it would not be a dream for him to dominate the third heaven. Tribulation was to go to the sky. He was not to go to the sky. Luli asked after some hesitation, "Fairy, can I survive the second heaven tribulation? Also, why are we going to Heaven Devil City to undergo the tribulation?" Fairy Tian Yun. "Kai, Li was." Fairy Tian Yun explained, "Your fleshly body is already very strong. With your fleshly body, you should have no problem resisting the first 3 layers of heavenly tribulation. As for the soul tribulation, I will give you a soul-stabilizing pill. As for the last layer of chaos tribulation, you can use your secret treasure to block the chaos energy. You're going to the Demon City because the Demon King built a powerful formation that can attract the heaven tribulations. It will be safer to go to the Demon platform. Secret treasure. Lu Li's pupils contracted. How did Fairy Tianyin know he had a secret treasure? Was she talking about the Dust King's seal or the Divine Iron? If it was the Divine Iron, did the Axe Demon tell her, or did she have the ability to foresee? Fairy Tianyin seemed to be able to read Lu Li's mind. She added, "The demon platform is isolated by a formation. Nobody knows about your situation in there, apart from the Demon King. Don't worry. The Demon King will not be interested in your treasures." Lu Li touched his nose in embarrassment. At this moment, he had a feeling that Fairy Tianyin had already seen through all his secrets. After some thoughts, he took out 2 jade boxes from his ring and said, "Fairy Tianyin, these are the black tortoise fruits I got from the Yuan Yu world. I gave 2 to the Qin family, and I have 3 left. These 2 are for you and the Demon King." "Ha, thank you," Fairy Tianyin said calmly, without a trace of emotion. "The great Demon King has this kind of spiritual fruit, and she gave me some. You can keep it for yourself, or you can exchange it for spiritual medicine to strengthen your body." Since Fairy Tianyin had said so, Lu Li didn't say anything else. He cupped his fists and left. Fairy Tianyin told him to rest for a couple of days and get ready. Then she asked Patriarch Shun to take him to the heaven tribulation. Back at his residence, Lu Li took a bath first. Then he asked someone to serve him some food and wine. He drank leisurely by himself. He had been wandering outside for 2 years without a moment of relaxation. Only now could he relax completely. "Drinking by yourself again?" A clear voice came. "Lady," he came in like a gust of wind. She sat down across from Lu Li and started to drink by herself. Her eyes were filled with cunning. She looked at Lu Li and said, "Lu Li, I heard that you got many treasures this time. Black tortoise fruits? You are so young. Why do you want black tortoise fruits?" Lu Li curled his lips. He took out an elixir from his interspatial ring, threw it to Lady E and said, "This is aging retaining flower. It is a miraculous elixir. It can keep you youthful and youthful. This is a gift for you." Wow, Miss Yi's eyes turned into crescent moons as she slightly opened the jade box. A fragrant scent immediately emanated out. Missy glanced at it and could not stop smiling. She hurriedly put it away and said, "At least you have some conscience. You didn't waste my kindness to you." Ha. Lady E was happy, and so was Lu Li. He raised his goblet and said, "Come, let's celebrate my coming back alive." "Okay." Lady E clinked her goblet with Lu Li and drank up. She tilted her head and asked, "Lu Li, it is said that you killed Yin Fengming. Is it true?" "Yes, he did die in my hands." Lu Li nodded and said, "But I could kill him because he was badly injured. He was less than 30% of his strength. Otherwise, it would be impossible for me to kill a warrior at the peak of the 3rd tribulation with my abilities." "That is impressive enough." Lady nodded and said, "Anyhow, he is at the peak of the 3rd tribulation and one of the top 100 on the celestial god list. Lu Li, you can be proud of this for the rest of your life." "Oh." Lady, you remembered something. Her eyes blinked and she asked, "I heard that you were entangled with a beautiful lady. TSK, the goddess of the Alliance of Immortals. Lu Li, are you going to leave the Omen Island and marry into the Alliance of Immortals?" "What?" Lu Li rolled his eyes. Where did Lady E hear this rumor? What was the relationship between him and Lady Qiong? They were not close. What was more, to him, Lady Qiong was Qin Zhan's woman, his brother's wife. She cannot be bullied. Lady E thought of something. She pouted and said, "It is said that you gave Lady Qiong a crimson sundae. Don't deny it. I exchanged a drop of immortal beast blood with her." Chapter 2030. Lu Li had been living at the Cloud Mountain for 5 days. It was rare for him to have 5 days of leisure. He went to see Uncle Lee and told him why he didn't bring his daughter and wife over. Uncle Lee said that he understood. Then, Luli went to Patriarch Shun with Uncle Lee and asked him to send someone to pick them up. Luli was willing to pay 5 million divine origin gold as a reward. Patriarch Shun found 3 people. Hearing that Luli was willing to pay 5 million divine origin gold, Patriarch Shun only had to pick up 2 people at the storm area. The 3 warriors at the peak of the second tribulation patted their chests and promised that they would complete the task. If anything went wrong, they would be held accountable. Take the 5 million. If you can bring them back safely, I will give you another 5 million. Lu Li threw the divine origin gold to the 3 and said seriously, I am not afraid to tell you that I have another nickname, Hell Killer. If you take the divine origin gold and do nothing, or if something happens to the 2, I will kill you even if I have to chase you for hundreds of millions of miles. Hell Killer? The name was well known recently. The 3 warriors were enveloped by Lu Li's killing intent. Their expressions changed. They patted their chests and promised that they would complete the task. Lu Li told them not to reveal their identities, to go there and come back in a low-key manner and not to make any trouble. The 3 left. Uncle Lee thanked Lu Li profusely. Lu Li told him to go back to rest and cultivate. Lu Li remembered that there was a girl and an old man in the interspatial ring. They were the ones he saved at the Fu family island. He let the girl and the old man out and asked Patriarch Shun to settle them down. After the 2 were taken away, Lu Li said to Patriarch Shun, I'm going to the Asmodean city to undergo the heavenly tribulation in a couple of days. Please come with me. Of course. Patriarch Shun looked at Lu Li with mixed feelings and sighed. Lu Li, I have watched you grow up step by step. Back in the days, a small team leader almost killed you. Now, you have made so much trouble that the 2 forces can't do anything to you. I am ashamed of your cultivation speed. Lu Li said with humility, I am lucky and I have met a benefactor. Thanks to Fairy Maiden and Patriarch Shun for your guidance and love. They chatted for a bit and Lu Li left to prepare. Patriarch Shun watched Lu Li leave. His eyes were filled with anticipation. He was looking forward to Lu Li's extraordinary performance in the contest of geniuses and his killing of Yun Kai-wei. 2 days later, Patriarch Shun and Lu Li departed. They teleported directly to the Asmodean city. There was a teleportation formation at the top of the mountain, which was quite a distance away. The Heavenly Demon City is so grand. After he arrived, Lu Li used psychic power to check. He realized that he could not use psychic power to scan the entire city. The city was filled with magnificent buildings, castles, and manors. There was no end to it. There were many people in the city. With a casual sweep of his divine will, there were at least a few million people. There were also countless shops and taverns. The streets were bustling with activity. Don't sweep around with your spiritual will. Elder Chun transmitted his voice and instructed, a few of the 10 great slaughtered generals live in the city. Their personalities are very tyrannical. If you anger them, even Fairy won't be able to protect you. Oh. Lu Li retracted his psychic power at once. He had met the Axe Demon, one of the 10 Slayer generals. He was at the peak of the 3rd tribulation, and his abilities were unfathomable. He was somewhat curious as he sent a voice transmission. Elder Chun, are the 10 slaughter generals all at the peak of the 3rd tribulation? Some of them are. Patriarch Chun replied, Axe Demon, Blade Demon, and Arrow Demon are acknowledged to be at the peak of the 3rd tribulation. The other 7 may not be at the peak of the 3rd tribulation, but they are not far behind. All of them are very powerful. The first 3 in particular have unfathomable abilities. They have gone on many expeditions with the Demon King and killed many powerful warriors, including many at the peak of the 3rd tribulation. Impressive, Lu Li exclaimed to himself. There is no doubt that the Demon King was a warrior at the 4th tribulation if she could recruit so many warriors at the peak of the 3rd tribulation. The Omen Island should be the most powerful force in the 2nd heaven. How could the other forces have so many warriors at the peak of the 3rd tribulation? She was just a woman. Not only could she have such abilities, she could also recruit so many powerful warriors. The Demon King's charm and abilities were evident. It was not impossible for the Demon King to unify the second heaven. They talked as they walked. They arrived at the north of the city. Patriarch Chun led them into a castle. The castle was not large. There were warriors guarding outside. Patriarch Chun was let in after he showed Fairy Tian Yun's token. There was a leader inside. Patriarch Chun told him the purpose of their visit and took out Fairy Tian Yun's token. The leader didn't say anything. He just showed them to a side chamber where there was a teleportation formation. Luli, this is the soul anchoring pellet. Patriarch Chun took out a pellet, handed it to Luli, and said, "Take it as soon as the heaven tribulation comes down on the 3rd level. Be careful. I will wait for your successful return." Okay, Luli put away. The leader said, "An hour after you go in, the demon salvation platform will be activated. Are you sure you want to go through the heaven tribulation? You might lose your soul if you're not careful." Yes, Luli trusted Fairy Tian Yun. He was confident as well. After all, his physical body had improved a lot, and he had secret treasures with him. The second heaven tribulation shouldn't be difficult for him. Buzzing, the leader activated the teleportation formation. Luli appeared on a high platform, which was 30 miles to the north of the heavenly Asmodean city. Standing on a high platform, one could see the entire city. But at the moment, the platform was surrounded by a black glare. Luli could only vaguely see what was going on outside. Similarly, those at the heavenly Asmodean city couldn't see what was going on inside. Someone is going through the heaven tribulation at the demon salvation platform. People in the city noticed that the demon salvation platform was glowing. Many people were curious. Not everyone could use the demon salvation platform. Could it be a relative of the Devil King or a descendant of the 10 assassin generals? Many people gathered outside the north of the city. They were talking about it, trying to find out who it was. How many heaven tribulations would it take? If it was the 3rd heaven tribulation successfully, then another powerful warrior would be born. Time moved on. An hour later, more than 200,000 people had gathered at the north of the city. The black glare on the high platform was shining brightly, lighting up half of the city. Thunder rumbled in the sky as if they were attracted by the formation on the high platform. Many thunderbolts were gathering in the clouds, ready to strike down at any time. Patriarch Chun and the leader were standing on the city wall at the north of the city. They looked up at the thunderbolts, and their expressions changed. Patriarch Chin's eyes flickered as he murmured, "Why are there so many thunderbolts? Why is this punk's heaven tribulation stronger than others?" Swish, bolts of huge thunderbolts whooshed down together with fire. The fire was dark red in color. Before the thunderbolts struck down, a surge of horrifying heat spread out to an area with a radius of more than 3,000 miles. People in the city felt they had fallen into a pit of fire. "Activate the divine pattern formation." A cold voice came. Patriarch Chin's heart trembled. It was the voice of Blade, the assassin general in charge of the Asmodean city. Lu Li's heaven tribulation had alarmed him, and he was going to activate the divine pattern formation. Swish, bolts of thunderbolts and fire penetrated into the high platform and landed on Lu Li. The dark fire enveloped Lu Li and began to burn him. "Hiss, hiss," Lu Li gasped. The thunderbolts were ineffective to him, and the fire could not burn him. But this was only the first level. There were 5 levels in the second heaven tribulation. How horrifying would the later levels be? Was he sure he could survive? Chapter 2031. Boom, boom, boom. Dragons of thunder hovered down as if it was the end of the world. Every dragon of thunder carried horrifying flames. The temperature was horrifying. If the shield of the Asmodean city was not activated, many people in the city would have been burned to death. For example, some children had never cultivated. How could they stand such a high temperature? Even more than 200,000 people at the north of the city had retreated more than 30 miles. It was not that they could not stand it, but they didn't want to suffer. They were not the ones going through the heaven tribulation. Why should they suffer? Why is it so overbearing? Patriarch Chen could not sit still anymore. He called over a warrior and asked him to teleport to Mount Cloud to report to a patriarch so that he could pass the message to Fairy Tianyun. Lu Li's heaven tribulation was so powerful that it subverted everything he knew. He was afraid that something might happen to Lu Li and he might be killed by the heaven tribulation. Therefore, he reported to Fairy Tianyun at once. Lu Li shouldered the high hopes of Fairy Tianyun. He had to go to the contest of geniuses and kill Yun Kaiwei on behalf of Fairy Tianyun. Fairy Tianyun had poured a lot of her blood on Lu Li. He could not die so easily. Boom, boom, boom. Lu Li, who was standing on the Demon Fairy platform, also felt something was off. He had heard that every heaven tribulation would be 10 times more powerful. But this heaven tribulation was more than 10 times stronger than the first one. Is it because of my strong physical body? Lu Li could not figure it out. He had to take it head on. Thunderbolts came down one after another. Every one of them contained flames. No matter how many thunderbolts came, they were all absorbed. Lu Li could not be harmed at all. The flames were nothing. They couldn't even hurt Lu Li, let alone burn him to death. They just made his skin a bit red. Lu Li's skin glowed as if he was made of copper. He sat on the ground with his legs crossed, not moving at all. He absorbed all the thunderbolts. The thunderbolts stopped after 99 times. Lu Li did not relax, though. This was only the first level. There were 4 more levels to go. Swish, swish, clouds came down from the sky. Many thunderbolts were gathering in the clouds, preparing for the second strike. Surges of might spread out, forcing people to step back for another 30 miles. Such an overbearing heaven tribulation and such horrifying might. Is this the third heaven tribulation? It doesn't seem like it. The third heavenly tribulation should be even stronger than this. However, it is much stronger than the second heavenly tribulation. I don't understand. This should be the second heavenly tribulation. It's just that the person undergoing the heavenly tribulation is a little strange, so the heavenly tribulation attracted is a little stronger. Could be a special god fetus. Otherwise, how could the heavenly tribulation be so strong? There is a lot of discussion in the surroundings, and the northern part of the city also attracted more people to watch. Unfortunately, the city barrier had been activated, and they could not come out. They could only watch from the north of the city. Due to the barrier's isolation, he was unable to clearly sense the heavenly might. Boom, boom, boom. The second bolt of lightning struck down. It was actually 2 bolts of lightning that struck down together. The bolts of lightning also contained purple heavenly flames. Terrifying heavenly might and scorching heat filled the air, causing many people nearby to cry out in alarm. Twin dragon lightning, great purple heavenly flame. Heavens, what kind of divine fetus is the one going through the tribulation? To actually make the heavens so jealous, and for the heavenly tribulation to be so abnormal? It's definitely a special divine fetus. I heard that the number 1 on the genius list has a Chilan divine fetus body. When he transcends the tribulation, he's several times stronger than an ordinary person. Our heavenly Devil Island also has a divine fetus? Is he the descendant of the Devil King? Shut up. The Devil King hasn't even gotten married yet. You are babbling nonsense. Be careful that your soul will be destroyed. Not even warriors at the third heaven's tribulation had encountered such a strange thing. 2 bolts of lightning were entangled together, and there was rare great purple heavenly flame. Everyone felt it was worthwhile to watch the show. Is it because of the supreme divine body? Patriarch Chun murmured to himself with a solemn expression. The supreme divine body was already an abnormal body. To cultivate, it was to go against nature. It was understandable that the heavens tribulation would take care of him. **T. Lu Li felt something was wrong. It was the first time he had seen purple heavenly flames. As soon as the purple heavenly flames came down, he was burned. But the thunderbolts didn't bother him. He could survive 10, let alone 2 bolts of lightning. What was more, the lightning would turn into special energy and be absorbed into his 720 acupoints. Can it be? Lu Li thought of a possibility. Was it because he had been to the heavens tribulation several times to absorb thunderbolts, and the thunderbolts were ineffective to him? Was that why the heavens tribulation was taking care of him? Hiss, hiss, the purple heavenly flames were too strong. He smelled burnt flesh. He didn't dare to think too much. He took some elixirs and used divine energy to heal himself. The second thunderbolt struck 99 times as well. After that, Patriarch Shun turned to the leader and asked, "Chief Commander Wong, how is it going in there? Can you detect it?" "Apart from the Asmodean King, nobody else can." Chief Commander Wong looked at the high platform in the distance and said, "But he is not dead." If he is, the formation of the demon trawling platform will stop the heavens tribulation. He is not dead. Patriarch Chin touched his nose in embarrassment. What was the point of asking if he was dead? He just wanted to know how Luli was. Could he survive the next heavens tribulation? Swish, swish, more and more clouds floated down from the 9 heavens, and some of them were 5-colored clouds. More and more thunderbolts were gathering. This time, even people within a radius of millions of miles could feel it. The heavens tribulation this time could be compared to the third heavens tribulation in terms of power. This punk is going to let the entire Omen Island know about his heavens tribulation. In a luxurious palace in the city, a man with a mustache sat with a jar of wine in his hand. His eyes were half closed. There were 2 people sitting next to him. One of them had fire-red hair and a stocky build like a lion. The other person was thin and small. He didn't look eye-catching at all, but his aura was very cold, making people feel like he was a poisonous snake. If Patriarch Shan were here, he would recognize the 3. They were the famous Axe Demon, Blade Demon, and Arrow Demon. The man with a mustache was Axe Demon. The one in the shape of a lion was Blade Demon. The manager of the Omen City and the cold and small man was Arrow Demon. Blade Demon said nothing. Arrow Demon picked up a bowl of wine, took a sip, and said, "How can it be so easy to cultivate a supreme, immortal body? People think that the most difficult part of cultivating an immortal body is the huge amount of elixirs needed. They don't know that the hardest part is the heavens tribulation. How many immortal bodies have been destroyed by the heavens tribulation before they reach the ultimate level?" "Yes." Lion King, Blade Demon nodded slightly and said with slight mockery in his eyes, "In the past 100,000 years, there hasn't been a single supreme immortal body in the entire second and third heavens, right? Can this punk succeed? I think it's hard enough. Don't be killed in the second heavens tribulation. He can survive it." Although the Axe Demon looked a little drunk, his tone was exceptionally firm. He glanced at the Saber Demon and the Arrow Demon and revealed a trace of smile. "You have forgotten one thing. The Great Demon King thinks very highly of him. How can someone that the Great Demon King thinks highly of die so easily?" At the mention of the Great Demon King, Blade Demon and Arrow Demon sat up straighter. There was no more doubt in their eyes. They looked solemn. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.